A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all-old-time radio.
This, I believe. Gilly Potter is a name you may not have heard before. But for more than a generation, British radio and music hall audiences have delighted in hearing a pedantic voice say, "Good evening, England. This is Gilly Potter, speaking to you in English." Then, with a laugh-provoking expression of distant superiority, he goes on to discuss the affairs of the day. There is another side to comedian Gilly Potter. He is a recognized authority on, among other things, ecclesiastical architecture and church law. Like the accent of his voice, the accent of his thinking is different, as he expresses his personal creed.
Your crackerbox philosophers, such humorists as Jack Downing and those that followed him and led up to Artemus Ward, had each his own topographical setting. I am of the same school. Downing's Downingsville and Ward's Baldinsville were both of them imaginary small townships, from the hypothetical happenings within which their creators were able to instance salutary lessons for the whole nation. In like fashion, I have resurrected an old English civic synonym, unused since the writings of Lamb and Scott, for the ultra-bucolic, in the legendary place named Hoggs Norton, whose fictitious inhabitants and their alleged activities are adapted by me to the service of satirizing the sayings and doings of my sometimes foolish fellow countrymen elsewhere. I believe then, personally as well as professionally, in the importance of the part to be played by honest laughter in making life easier and so happier. My son, says the proverb, get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. That is, a sense of proportion, which is again merely such a sense of humor as will enable us to see ourselves as others see us, a faculty that we are fast losing. How fast is evidenced clearly by the fact that while we were never more ready to laugh at others, we are rapidly losing the saving grace of laughing at ourselves. The heterodox trend in modern art, music, and drama is, like the politico-economic ideology it reflects, entirely devoid of humor. The pagan philosophy of an earlier heresy was based upon the statement, "Tomorrow we die," but it advocated on the way the policy of eat, drink, and be merry. Like all persons of my years and race, I was nurtured in the Christian faith, and I know, therefore, that the philosophy in question is prefaced by a false premise, but my very soul warms to its advice as to enjoying life to the full, and I have, in my humble way, assisted, I hope, to restore to my motherland her erstwhile happy title of Merry England. The Saviour of the souls of men has fulfilled his mission, but the task of the saviour of their sanity, the satirist, is a never-ending one, for, unhampered by creed or policy or program, he can dispel by a shaft of wit the clouds that obscure the truth. For many a true word is spoken in jest. Indeed, as a student of history, I am convinced that your classic humorist, Artemus Ward, did as much by his satire to save the soul of his country as did Abraham Lincoln by his statesmanship to preserve her frontiers. I speak, said St. Paul, as a fool, but, he elsewhere affirms, God hath chosen the foolish things of the world to confound the wise. I believe, then, that were man to listen more attentively to God's fools, he would himself be less foolish. It would be impossible for him to become more so. To everything there is a season, a time to weep, and a time to laugh.
That was Gilly Potter, who many years ago started out to study law at Oxford, but turned to the stage and became one of England's leading comedians.
The Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation brings you Crime Photographer. Where are you
going over Labor Day weekend, Tony?
Well, Casey, I haven't any plans particularly.
But everyone goes to see somebody over a Labor Day weekend. Everybody.
Oh, I know, Ethelbert. I'm waiting for them.
You mean everybody will come to see you?
Excellent deduction, Casey.
Yeah, but why should the whole world be to pass to your door?
Why? I work for Anchor Hawking, the most famous name in glass. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. This is Tony Marvin. Every week at this time, the Anchor Hawking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, and its more than 10,000 employees bring you another adventure of Casey, crime photographer, ace cameraman who covers the crime news of a great city. Written by Alonzo Dean Cole, our adventure for tonight, Hideout. Night. A street of old houses. Unpainted, unkempt, dirty-looking houses. A man and woman hurry along the street, watchful, furtive. In a shadowed doorway of one of the houses, they halt, and the man knocks quickly and softly. From inside the door...
Who's there?
The guy who phoned you an hour ago. Ed Bagley's pal.
Okay. I'll open up.
Be quick about it.
I'm being quick. Hey, by the rods.
Just want to be sure who you are, mister.
You've come to the right house. My name's Bliss. The guys call me Creepy.
You fit the description I got. Get inside, Doris.
Okay. Close that door quick.
And lock it, Creepy.
You don't have to tell me my business. Oh. So you're tough Luke Davis. And wife.
Yeah.
Nice clean getaway you pulled after heisting that bank for $100,000, according to what I read in the papers.
If the getaway'd been clean, we'd have been out of this town by now, not here.
Don't worry. Old Creepy will hide you out. Got a nice room upstairs for you.
I hope it's better than what I see down here and what I smell.
Yeah. Don't you ever open a window?
Neighbors and cops might see and hear things through open windows. Besides, I don't like drafts. They're bad for my cough. Go on, I'll take you upstairs.
Come on, Doris.
What a...
You don't like it, sister? You don't have to stay. Hey, you two are traveling light. Nothing but that little satchel for both of you?
Did you expect us to show up here with a couple of trunks after what you read in the papers?
No, but the 100 G's you got from that bank should make quite a bundle. Still a big suitcase, maybe. I'm wondering if you lost.
We didn't lose it.
You got it hid away, huh?
Well hid.
Yeah. Sure you brought enough dough with you to pay my rate?
You'll get yours. Where's this room you got?
Yeah, I'm tired climbing.
Here's the room.
Oh, look, it's worse than those crummy ones downstairs.
Stinks.
Got a good strong door on it and heavy bolts. Also, it's an easy jump from that window onto the next roof. But more important, old Creepy's never bothered by the cops. They don't know he runs a hideout. They think he's just a poor, sick old man.
Well, the joint looks safe, Doris. Anyway, we're stuck with it till the heat dies down. How much, Creepy?
$1,000 a week.
What?
You lousy robber.
2 guys were killed in that bank holdup. 2 Davises are wanted for murder.
Okay. $1,000 a week.
Payable in advance.
Give it to the rat, Luke.
Here's your G.
Meals is extra.
What?
Of course, you can go out to the restaurant if you want to take the chance.
How much for meals?
It depends on how expensive your tastes are. Folks with 100 G's stashed away will naturally want the best.
Yeah, we get it. But be careful, Creepy. I'm a guy who explodes under pressure. Don't put it on too hard.
2 weeks in this crummy joint, Luke. Cost us nearly $4,000.
Yeah. $25 a piece for the lousy horse meat he calls steaks, $2 a bottle for beer that cost him 2 for a quarter, and $1 for a 5-cent newspaper. I'm fed up.
So am I. Most of all, I'm fed up with this dirty, stinking room. What's the use? We're stuck and we got to make the best.
I'm not so sure of that.
Huh?
I've been thinking, babe.
About what?
Hand me that nail file, will you? I could get a decent manicure.
Nuts with the manicures. What's on your mind?
Hand me the nail file, I said.
Okay. Here. Now, what do you
I'm thinking about us leaving here.
For where?
Another hideout.
We don't know any others in this town. We don't stand a chance of getting out of town yet.
I just remembered what another con told me when I was in stir. There's a guy who runs a big hideout racket here, Doris, and he treats red hots right.
Why didn't we go to him in the first place?
I tell you, I just remembered his name. I'm going to get hold of him on the phone downstairs and make arrangements. He'll send a right car to pick us up. He'll do everything.
Then this rat creepy sees himself losing the dough we've been dishing out, and he tips off the cops. He'll figure who this other hideout guy is, Lou.
Creepy won't have any chance to figure.
You mean...
Well, my nails ain't bad, but wish I could get a real manicure.
Creepy's sure been asking for.
I'd say he has.
He's coming upstairs and bringing that hooch you ordered.
Yeah. He's going to make us a present of it.
No noisy shoot.
Of course not.
Open up, Davis. I brought your whiskey.
Okay, Creepy.
Come in, Mr. Bliss.
Oh, thanks. Good stuff I got you. One of the best blends on the market. You owe me $100 for the bottle.
No, Creepy. That bottle's on the house.
What do you mean? Hey, fire that gun.
I'm bending this gat over your head.
Oh, don't.
Sizzling rat. Lousy sizzling rat.
Let him have a penny, Luke.
He's had it, bloody.
You sure he's finished? We don't want him talking.
He'll never talk to anyone again. Just fill his clothes and find the dough we paid out to him while I go downstairs to his phone and make a deal for a real hideout.
You better open a window down there and let in some fresh air.
Yeah. I'll be glad to get out of this smelly place.
Our story will continue in just a moment. The time has come, the sponsor says, to talk of beer and ale.
For brewery taste and purity, for goodness without fail.
Use glass to keep the flavor right, for glass will never fail.
That's it. Glass and glass alone brings you beer and ale as it ought to taste.
Right. Glass bottles and glass bottles only can bring you beer and ale as it comes from the brewery, unaffected by any foreign taste or flavor.
And now we have a new kind of bottle.
The Anchor Glass one-way bottle.
It requires no deposit.
No return to the store.
When it's empty, dispose of it as you would any food container.
It saves space in the icebox.
It's a natural for picnic.
Easy to open, easy to drink from.
It's always in good taste.
And it protects that real brewery flavor.
As only glass can protect it.
Yes. The revolutionary new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle is sweeping America. For perfect flavor, demand beer in glass bottles. For extra convenience, demand your favorite brand in the new Anchor Glass one-way no-deposit bottle, a product of Anchor Hocking. The most famous name in glass.
The body of his character, Creepy Bliss, was found this morning because a cop was very observant, Miss Williams. I'd like you to mention that in your paper.
Well, don't I always put in a good word for you cops, Captain Logan? Well, I had the opportunity.
Yeah, the trouble is, Logan, you guys give us so few opportunities.
That comedy, Casey, is strictly Joe Miller.
Okay, pal. But what did your observant cop observe?
And the downstairs window was open. Bliss never opened one, summer or winter.
Oh, that's why this joint smells like a glue factory.
Yeah. Well, the cop was familiar with Bliss's habits, investigated the open window, and found Bliss with his head bashed in. Otherwise, the murder might have gone undiscovered for weeks.
When was his head bashed in?
About 10 o'clock last night.
Any idea who did the bashing?
We're sure Luke Davis did it.
Davis?
You mean the bandit who held up the bank 2 weeks ago?
He and his Ma Doris had obviously been hiding out here. They found their fingerprints all over the room where Bliss was beaten to death.
Well, then Bliss ran a hideout. Eh?
That's the picture, Casey. and he ran it pretty smart. The cops never had him under suspicion. He ran it so smart that apparently the gang in control of the hideout racket here wasn't wise to him.
He wasn't a member of the gang.
I don't think so.
I've heard just one guy bosses the hideouts in this town.
That's my dope on the situation.
Well, you've never been able to learn much about the hideout boss, have you, Logan?
No, he's the toughest of all racketeers to find out about, Miss Williams, because he's the one crook other crooks don't squeal on.
Yeah, for the very good reason, Annie, that every crook figures that he himself will need a hideout eventually. And he wants to be on good terms with the guys who can provide it.
Now, Luke Davis and his girlfriend probably made a connection with the big hideout operator before they left here last night. Luke left some fingerprints on the telephone.
Well, there's no way of tracing the call he made.
Miss Williams, only amateur detectives in crime fiction can trace local calls when a phone isn't tapped. The phone companies can't do it, and neither can we poor professional cops.
So Luke Davis and his wife have made another getaway.
Yeah, and we probably won't catch up with them until they figure it's safe to come out of hiding and try to blow town.
Well, if they could be found right away, it'd be front-page stuff. And big.
I'm so sorry I can't oblige you two with something immediate.
You've found nothing that might be a possible lead to where the Davises went from here?
Not a thing.
Oh, you know you can tell us about holdouts, Captain. We keep them strictly off the record.
I'm not holding out anything on you, Miss Williams. You've heard all I've learned about this thing.
Of course, you've been in touch with Barney Rubin, huh?
Oh, sure. I got nothing from him.
Well, now, who's Barney Rubin?
Well, Annie, altogether off the record. He runs a joint on the west side called Barney's Bar. It's a crook hangout, and when Barney hears interesting things, he passes them along to Logan and a few other guys that he trusts.
I still picture.
Well, more a undercover guy, I'd say. Barney never's been a crook himself.
That we know of.
I don't know. I've always figured him on the level, pal.
Well, he's been very helpful at times.
Well, if he's not a crook himself, how come crooks trust him?
Well, Barney's brother, you see, Annie, was a big-time racketeer. And he and his mob used Barney's bar as a hangout. The brother was cut in two by machine gun slugs in one of those sweet gang double crossings 5 or 6 years ago, and Barney turned very sour on old gunmen. Outwardly, though, he remained on good terms with the cookies that he'd met through his brother's connections, but on the QT, he's done him a lot of harm.
Now, this is strictly off the record, Miss Williams, and you forget you heard it.
Sure, Captain Logan. Well, let's get back to the paper, Casey. We've got everything here there is to get.
Yeah. See you later, Logan.
Okay.
So long, Captain.
So long, Miss Williams.
Well, Annie, I'll drop you off the office. Leave these pictures I took with Tate in my department.
Oh, where are you going?
Well, nailing Davis and his moll will make a big yarn, Annie, if it breaks soon. So, before some other newspaper mug gets the idea, I'm going to see Barney and make a deal for an exclusive tip if he hears some interesting information.
Casey, I ain't heard a word about Luke Davis and his moll, and I don't expect to hear any. Them red hots is from out of town, you know, when the mobs around here ain't acquainted with them.
Yeah, well, what I'm asking you, Barney, is this, see? If you hear anything, let me have it first, see? At the same time that you pass it to the cops, before other newspapers can get it. You know, I always return the favors that you do me.
Sure, I know. Yeah, I might have been bumped off a couple of times if you hadn't persuaded certain wrong G's that I wasn't a student.
Yeah.
I give you tips and you do me favors.
That's right. Well, do we play it that way again?
Why not? But like I say, I can't hope for a thing on them two Davis red hots.
Well, your interview with Barney doesn't sound too promising, Casey.
Oh, he'll tip me if he hears anything, Annie. A guy in his spot needs guys like me to front for him sometimes.
Well, I'd hate to be in his spot. Running with crooks and hunting with cops is playing the hard way.
Yeah, I'll see. Annie, here comes Ethelbert. You can't talk about Barney, even to him.
Well, Casey, hello, Miss Williams.
Hi, pal.
Evening, Ethelbert.
Excuse me, I was busy up at the other end of the bar. Well, what's new, Casey?
Casey and I have been working on that hideout murder.
I've been reading about it. The cops are sure Luke Davis and his wife did the job.
Yeah, it's open and shut.
Why do you suppose they killed the guy who'd been hiding them out?
Those hideout rats are always greedy, Ethelbert. My hunch is that Creepy Bliss piled up the charges until Davis got sore and worked him over.
From what I hear about Davis, he always got sore when he was overcharged. A waiter I know who comes from the same town as Davis was in a while ago, and he was telling me about it.
Huh? Few people in this town know Davis. What did he tell you?
Only what I've said, that the guy added up his tab very careful and made a big squawk if the charge was a dime or so too much.
This guy knew Davis well. I'd kind of like to talk to him.
Yeah, he might give us some angle, Casey.
Well, he didn't know Davis well, just waited on him occasionally. Anyway, I don't know where you could find this waiter. He's only an acquaintance. I don't even know his last name.
Oh, you don't? Well, the thought. Say, slip us a pack of cigarettes, will you, Edward?
Okay. This waiter said Davis had a very annoying habit, aside from adding up a check too careful. He ruined menus, Bud.
Ruined menus?
Yeah. Seems he's a bug on keeping his nails manicured, and they was always razor sharp. He'd run one of them nails over the menu to mark each item he wanted, and he'd cut the paper almost clear through so the menu couldn't be used again for other customers.
Oh, interesting, but unhelpful.
Yeah. How about those cigarettes, huh?
Gee, I almost forgot. Here, Casey.
Thanks, sir. Thanks.
This waiter said Davis ruined phone books the same way.
What? Phone books?
You underline the numbers he was going to call.
As Annie.
Casey.
His nails was also hard on tablecloths and napkins. Hey, where you going?
Back to Creepy Bliss's joint. You've given us a tip, pal.
And thanks a million.
Oh, that's all right. What did I do?
Hey, maybe Ethelbert's given you and Miss Williams something, Casey. A notation on Davis's police record about his sharply manicured nails.
And you're sure he made a call from here last night to arrange for a new hideout, huh?
Yeah, we found fresh prints of his on the phone.
Oh, where's the phone book, Captain Logan?
On the table beside the phone. His prints are on the book.
Well, let's go through that book.
All right, now.
Ethelbert's waiter friend said that Davis's nails cut almost through the paper where he underlined things, Captain. So his mark should be easy to spot.
I'll find it if it's here. I'm taking the book page by page.
All right, well, now, ripple through it first. We may save time that way.
Let's see. Fallon, Amherst, Austin. All right, PAs. Now these. Abbott, Aiken, Baker, Vanderger.
Logan, wait a minute. Huh? There it is, Logan.
Ah, deep nail mark under a name and number.
Look at that name and number, Casey.
Holy.
It's Barney's bar.
But Barney.
But both of you told me that this Barney was in with the cops.
Looks like we were wrong, Miss Williams.
Yeah, buddy.
Sergeant, take this book and go over it page by page. If you find any other marks like this, let me know.
Yes, sir. I don't think you'll find any more, Logan.
Neither do I.
Playing ball with you cops, as it seemed, gave Barney a nice cover-up, didn't it?
And we fell for it because now and then he did give us the real lowdown on wanted crooks.
Logan, thinking back, those crooks never had any dough when Barney turned them in.
Well, he took all they had for hiding them, and then
put them on the spot, Annie. Sometimes collecting a cash reward for doing it in addition to the goodwill of saps like Logan and yours truly.
We went out of our way to protect the rats. They keep better rats from getting wise to them.
How are you going to handle them, pal?
I know how I'd like to handle them.
Well, I'd love to see you do it just that way, but...
Yeah, sure. Nail marks no evidence, and if I bring Barney in for questioning, I tip my hand.
you squirm out from under.
And not only that, the Davises might be warned and get away.
Say, Logan, Barney might be persuaded to lead us to the Davises, and at the same time cook himself.
Oh, Barney's smart and careful. He lets little guys do his contact.
Yeah, maybe not with red hots who've gotten away with $100,000. I think Barney takes a deep personal interest in that kind of moolah. You figure the Davises are carrying that dough with them?
No, I doubt it. Experienced crooks like the Davises don't trust other crooks. They know they're at the mercy of a hideout proprietor. I think they managed to bury the dough somewhere.
That may turn the trick.
I don't get you.
No, neither do I.
Hideout landlords are greedy guys, Annie. $100,000 is a lot of dough, and there's no honor among thieves.
Talk straight.
All right, how's this? I'm going to call on Barney. I've done him favors in exchange for tips he's given me. All right, tonight I'll hand him a tip and hope he does me the favor of falling for it. Is that straight enough?
Casey.
Not the double talk.
Go on, pal.
I didn't expect to see you again today, Casey.
Well, I just dropped in on the chance you might have something for me, Barney.
Not a thing, fella. I told you there wasn't much hope I'd get the lowdown on them Davises.
Yeah. Well, I thought maybe, you know. I got a little new dope on them after I left you this afternoon.
Yeah?
Yeah, this is strictly confidential, Barney. I could only spill it to a guy who's aces with the cops, you know.
Well, you know how I stand with them.
Yeah, sure.
What's your dope? Not that it'll mean anything to me.
Well, Captain Logan tipped me that he has definite proof that the Davises are hiding out with all of that $100,000 on them.
On them?
Yeah. Didn't have time to stash it away before they went to Creepy Bliss's joint.
$100,000 is a lot of dough. Must fill a big suitcase, huh?
Yeah, it might. But a lot of folding money can be carried in a guy's clothes, Barney, and a lot more under a woman's dress.
That's so.
Look, keep this way under the hat, Barney. If the cookie they're hiding out with knew that dough was right under his nose, well, you can figure it easy.
Yeah. Them Davises would be in a real bad spot if the hideout operator knew.
That's right. Fortunately, of course, nobody knows except you and me and a few cops. Yeah, that's the way it is. Well, I'll be running along, Barney. Maybe you'll have something for me tomorrow. I'll drop in.
Yeah, you might be lucky, Casey. I might have something about them Davises.
Yeah. Well, good night, fella.
Good night.
Barney's getting into his car, Logan.
He's never been known to leave that joint of his until 4 a.m. closing time before.
Oh, it isn't midnight yet. Looks like Casey's scheme is working.
Yeah, well, he sure had me over a barrel. He said that dough should fill a suitcase. We don't even know whether Davis have any baggage with him at all.
His car's starting.
Follow him, Sergeant, and don't lose him.
Okay, Captain.
Now, Casey, we'll find out if your tip to Barney pulls a tail.
Barney's car is pulling into that public garage.
Yeah, I see it,
We followed the guy for half an hour, and all he's been heading for is the garage where he puts his jalopy to bed. Barney lives only a few blocks from here, Casey.
Maybe he got wise. We were tailing him, Logan.
He didn't get wise. Our driver knows his business.
What'll I do now, Captain?
I'll drive out past the garage and park where we can keep an eye on it.
Okay, sir.
If Barney comes out, Martin here will follow him home and keep a watch on him. Even though Casey's big scheme is flopped, I don't want Barney out of sight for a minute.
Well, look, he's out of sight right now, pal.
Huh?
Yeah, the big doors of that garage are wide open. And we passed it just now.
I saw Barney go through a door in the back.
Yeah, that's what I saw.
Stop the car, Sergeant.
Yes, sir.
You'll find out where that door in the back leads to.
Can't lead outside, Logan. The garage is built against a ledge of solid rock.
Right, it has 2 stories, Casey.
There may be rooms in that second story, a hideout.
You see any attendants in the garage?
Only one guy. If this is a hideout, he'll be working for Barney.
Now, all of you stay here. I'll go in and stop them from giving any signal.
I'll go with you.
You stay here.
Huh?
More than one guy goes in, the lookout might get wise and pull a fast one before
right.
he stops.
That's right. Okay, you're right, pal. We'll stay behind and watch.
Good evening, friend.
What do you want?
I'm having a little motor trouble. My car's outside. You take a look at it?
This is just a storage garage, mister. We don't do mechanical.
I want to find out what kind of work is done here.
That's what I call a very sweet, fast job of quieting the guy.
You flatter me, Casey. Take care of this log, Martin, and keep him quiet. Sergeant, post the men so no one can get out of this building. I'm going to see what's behind that back door.
Yes, and this time I'm coming along.
I need to.
Well, there's no time to argue. Come on, but be quiet. Oh, the door's not locked.
Barney was depending on that lookout.
Stairs going up.
With a door at the top. Now, let's go.
What do you mean?
That's the only reason I came up here. That's what I'm trying to tell you, but you don't mind attention.
Yeah, that's Barney's
I
voice.
didn't want to take any chances, so I dropped in to see if you and your missus was comfortable, Davis.
Davis.
I
I've been in cells that were bigger than this lousy room.
Coffins is much smaller than this room.
Nobody's going to put Luke and me in coffins, Barney, not for a long while.
Yeah, it'd be too bad if somebody did, Mrs. Davis. You two ain't got so much to live for. Not much. $100,000. But it's going to be too bad.
Hey, why that cat?
Got a silencer on it, Luke.
Have the door, Casey. Together. Drop that gun, Barney. No. If you wanted that. And don't reach for your gun, Davis.
I got that copper. I'll only reach for...
Dave! Annie! He's got this million.
In front of me, copper, and I also got my gun. I will shoot it out on terms I like.
Oh, yeah?
Luke?
You dopes always watch the guy with a gat and forget about the guy who hasn't any, Davis. This'll teach you to remember.
Oh, Casey.
That's what I call a very sweet, fast job of quieting a guy, Casey.
You flatter me, Lawton.
We'll join the crowd at the Blue Note in just a moment. On these hot afternoons and evenings, one of the most agreeable sounds is the tinkling of ice cubes in a big frosty pitcher and the promise of refreshing ice-cold lemonade, iced tea, or delicious fruit juices. How good it tastes, and how wonderful it looks when poured from the new Sunburst Crystal Pitcher. Now, the Sunburst Crystal Pitcher is a radiantly beautiful 2-quart pitcher in the magnificent new kind of crystal the whole country is talking about and admiring. Why, it picks up light like a diamond and scatters it in 1,000 flashing rays. And here's the surprise. You can own one of these magnificent, sparkling Sunburst Crystal Pitchers for only 50 cents. Yes, only 50 cents, or slightly more in distant cities. So look for it tomorrow in the windows and on the counters of the retail stores of America. Sunburst Crystal is a product of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass.
Oh, good night, Grace. Oh, say, you forgot your umbrella. Oh, well.
Hello, Ethelbert.
Oh, hello, Casey, Miss Williams. Nice day, ain't it?
Nice. What do you mean nice? It's pouring.
Oh, Ethelbert, does Grace always affect you that way?
Who? Oh. Not to change the subject, your paper said that hideout case is all cleared up.
Oh, you read it in the Morning Express. It's true.
And the cops even found the $100,000 bankload.
On the Davises, where Casey told Barney it was.
Yeah, that was when I thought I was pulling a fast one.
Oh, Ethelbert. Look who came in the door.
Oh, Grace. Walter, bring them up.
Prime Photographer, starring Stott Cotsworth as Casey, is brought to you each Thursday by the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation, makers of Fire King Oven Glass, Anchor Glass Containers, Anchor Caps and Closures. All products of Anchor Hocking, the most famous name in glass. Photographer is directed by John Dietz. The original music is by Archie Blyer, and the program features Miss Jan Miner as Anne and John Gibson as Ethelbert. Herman Tennyson is the Blue Note pianist. This is Tony Marvin saying goodnight for the Anchor Hocking Glass Corporation of Lancaster, Ohio, with offices in all principal cities of the United States and Canada. Thursday night on CBS is the biggest show in town. So stay tuned for exciting dramatizations on Reader's Digest Radio Edition, which follows immediately over most of these stations. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
This I believe. Dr. Goodrich C. White has been president of Emory University in Georgia for 11 years, after a life devoted to teaching. Psychology was his subject. Like so many others, he has faced inner crises, some due to doubts and frustrations, some to great personal loss. Here is how this earnest and aware man sums up his beliefs.
It has helped me at critical times to be able to say about some things, this I believe. It has helped, too, and no less importantly, I think, in the business of everyday living, with its little problems and frustrations and defeats, and its minor achievements and satisfactions. Twice in my experience, life has seemed to come to a dead end, not so much because of external circumstance as because of inward difficulty. In these times, my faith in some of the great fundamentals provided anchors to windward, and these anchors held, though there was uncertainty for me at times that they would, and the seeming dead end in each case proved in the outcome to be an open road to greater opportunity. And once I have suffered tragic loss. My elder son and namesake was killed in combat during World War II. When this blow came, I watched my wife struggle with such devastating grief that I thought for a time I would lose her too. But I could help little in her struggle. Her serene confidence in life's goodness had been shattered, and I could not just hand over whatever of faith I may have had to another, however close and dear. She did win through to something that even yet I cannot fully share, a faith that is beautiful and sure and sustaining. This, then, I believe. There must be meaning and purpose in human life, in the individual personality, in human history, in the world of our experience, in the universe of which it is a part. I believe in the supreme value of the person, and personality must be the product of a universe in which personality is the ultimate fact. This superpersonal explanation of the universe we call God, and so I believe in God. For me, too, there can be no ultimate meaning and value in human living if death is the end, or in human history if its final outcome is dust and ashes. I believe, therefore, in the survival of human personality after what we call death. Just how this survival is possible, just what the nature of life after death is, I do not know, nor try to conceive. But that it must be, this I believe. When the simple, unquestioning piety that was a part of the atmosphere of my childhood proved for me inadequate, I had to fight through doubt and uncertainty to a belief in some of the great fundamentals. I know that to these beliefs I turn daily in the midst of routine demands. I turn to them with a still greater sense of need when larger issues are for me at stake. That the great fundamentals cannot be proved, I must concede. I believe them because I must, but this is not to concede that they are unreasonable. And for me, life cannot make sense without belief in the supreme worth of human personality, in God, and in human personality's survival after death.
That was the sensitive and considered statement of Dr. Goodrich C. White, president of Emory University in Georgia.
Crime does not pay.
Really, gentlemen, you know by now that your recent failure severely limits your operations in this city. You must, as the saying goes, lie low for a while.
Okay, so what? You got any ideas?
If I say so myself, am the man you have been dreaming of.
Keep talking.
I fully intend to. Now then, working as I do in a firm of credit investigators, I am in a position to know which businessmen in this community are on the point of fading. Point one.
Gotcha. Keep going.
And if that were not sufficient to make me invaluable to you, I have an invention of my own. A means of setting any number of admirable bonfires with absolute safety. In fact, you can predetermine the time at which fire will strike. Point 2. How can you possibly do without me, gentlemen? Without me and my brief candle?
In the interest of good citizenship and law enforcement, we present Crime Does Not Pay, based on the famous Metro-Goldwyn-Mayer series of short subjects. In just a moment, you will hear The Celluloid Candle, starring Ralph Forbes. Now, Crime Does Not Pay, starring Ralph Forbes as Morgan Finchley in The Celluloid Candle. There are certain segments of organized crime, the underworld as we like to call it, whose functions in the vast and frightening structure of theft and death are purely service functions. Infamous Murder Incorporated was a segment like that. Their service was obvious in their name. And there are similar groups whose work run the gamut from stealing cars to arson and worse. Sparks Davis and Matches Andrews were a service organization. Their nicknames described their work. And both Sparks and Matches were very proud of their results. As they like to put it,
Baby, when we blow them, they stay in peace. What's left of them, and the insurance company pays. Yeah, now spread the kerosene, Matches. That watchman will be back soon. We got 20 minutes yet. I plotted his route when we cased the joint. Yeah, but we don't want him caught in the sea. That could be a murder rap. You should have been a lawyer. You and your legal worries. What do we got a mouthpiece for? Okay, kerosene done. I want to get out of here and out of this neighborhood. What do you think this place is going to make? Leather and high. Hey, what's the chances of a big noise, huh? With all the dust that sticks around a joint like this, plenty. We do this right, they'll call it spontaneous combustion. They won't even look for nothing. Okay, then. Ready? Wait a minute, let me check. Kerosene, you done? Yeah. I stuck the gasoline in the right places. Okay. Now, all we gotta do is throw the match. And then run like crazy. Good. On your mark. Get set. Go. She's so good. Say you win. Just run. All right. Slow down. You want a cop to haul us in?
Yeah, nobody around this time of night.
Sure, so how will you explain running, huh? Use your head, you dope. Okay, we can wait here. By the firebox? Why not? There she goes. Now it's my turn to have fun. That does it. You like to play with matches? Me, I love to pull at alarm box. Okay, let's scram matches before the fire boys start whooping up the street.
Right.
Hey, ain't that a pretty one, though? 3 alarms, or I ain't no expert. And we'll collect on this one, sure. Yeah?
Mr. Davis?
Who wants him?
This is John Harris, formerly of Harris Leathers.
Oh, yeah, Harris. This is Sparks. What's cooking? You ready to pay off already?
The insurance company is holding up payment on a suggestion of the fire marshal. His name is Horton, I've been told.
Impossible. That place flew sky high.
Yes, I know, but they found traces of kerosene. The fragments of a container which they say contained gasoline. They don't accuse me of arson directly, but their hints are broad enough. And I'm a ruined man, Davis. My creditors are hounding me. It was bad enough before the fire, but now you've bungled it, Davis.
Such a yap. Trouble? Yeah, the fire marshal.
Anything point to us?
Not unless Harris talks, and he would. I'll see who that is, will you?
Yeah, sure.
Sure. What do you want?
My name is Finchley. Morgan Finchley. May I see Mr. Davis, please?
What do you want?
My card.
All everything. You want to see this guy, Spot?
Huh? Morgan Finchley, Credit Investigations. Who gave me for reference? Harris? Let him in.
Okay. Come in, Mr. Finchley. He'll see you.
Thank you. Good day, Mr. Davis.
Is it? Sit down. What's on your mind?
For you, Mr. Davis, and your associates, it may turn out to be a very good day.
That's so? Keep going.
An acquaintance of yours happens to be an acquaintance of mine. He referred me to you, as I happen to be interested in your line of business.
What's his name?
Harris. John Harris.
What did he tell you?
I see from your tone that he's told you your recent attempt for him has failed.
Come on, get to the point, Mr. Finchley.
I shall, very shortly.
You want to fire someplace? We work for 50%.
Really, my friend, you are rather dense.
Save the insult.
Maybe I ought to throw you downstairs.
Mr. Davis, kindly restrain your overeager friend here.
Let him talk, Manchester.
Yeah, he sure has a big mouth.
All right, get it over with, Finchley. We're busy.
Really, gentlemen. You know by now that your recent failure severely limits your operations in the city. You must, as the saying goes, lie low for a while.
Okay, so what? You got any ideas?
Well, if I say so myself, am the man you have been dreaming of.
If you say so yourself. Anybody else say so?
You will, my good man, if you care to listen for a moment.
Keep talking.
I fully intend to. Now then, working as I do in a firm of credit investigators, I am in a position to know which businessmen in this community are on the point of failing. Point one.
Uh-huh. I got you. Keep going.
And if that were not sufficient to make me invaluable to you, I have an invention of my own. A means of setting any number of admirable bonfires with absolute safety. In fact, you can predetermine the time at which fire will strike. Point two. How can you possibly do without me, gentlemen? Or without me and my brief candle?
Brief candle, eh? This is a lot of talk. That candle gag's no good.
That's where you are wrong. My candle is perfect for the purpose.
You can't tell how long they'll burn. You set up an alibi, boom. Candle burns too fast, you're out of luck.
But mine are made up from a special formula of my own. So much candle, so many minutes. I have them marked, graduated like a measuring cup, in half hours, and they never fail.
You got a sample?
I'm not selling candles. I'm offering a partnership.
You got a gall. Our business he tries to muscle in on, and he offers us a partnership.
Mr. Davis?
I'm still listening.
I cannot be associated in any way with prospective clients. That part I need you for. The approach, the making of the deal, part of the execution. You need me for the information on prospects to which I have access and for my candle. I suggest a three-way split, gentlemen.
You got a deal. When do we start?
At once, gentlemen, at once. I have here a list of companies whose credit is melting away. A little heat applied in the proper manner will benefit everyone. Stocks, my good man?
Who else? Shoot.
Our first order is confirmed. Will you and Matches be good enough to meet me at 9 tonight at the corner of Grant and South 10th Street? We shall, I believe, spend a delightful evening. Well, not bad for one evening's work. 3 evenly distributed piles of green bill.
He likes money. He's human after all. Ain't we all?
I trust you have observed the promptitude of the insurance company, mute witness to the security provided by my method of setting a fire.
Why don't you get it patented?
Your sarcasm is both heavy-handed and misplaced, my friend. As long as I alone retain the secret of the measured candles, I need no further protection. Do I, gentlemen?
Okay, Finch, you call this meeting. What do you want?
Let us call this the semi-annual meeting of our board of directors, Sparks, shall we?
Call it anything you want. Only get it over with.
Oh, matches. Always impatient, always. Shall we call the meeting to order?
What's on your mind, Finch?
We've been together now for 6 months. Am I correct?
Yeah, just about.
Each of us has rather a decent bank balance. Correct?
So what? That any reason to drag us out to the middle of no place because you want to have a meeting by candlelight?
I selected this abandoned building in a secluded section as a particularly appropriate setting for what I have in mind.
I don't like the smell of this.
Nor would you like the substance, Sparks, my friend. You see, we have all grown wealthy on the information and the method I have supplied. I think it is true that without me, you would no longer be operating.
Now he's taking bows.
From now on, I'm taking more than bows, gentlemen. From now on, I'm taking half the income. You two may split the other half any way you choose.
What? You think we'll let you get away with that?
You have no choice, gentlemen. I have just elected myself majority stockholder and chairman of the board. Although I doubt if the Wall Street Journal will make mention of the fact.
Now I am going to bust you and right in the snook.
I have grave doubts about that, Matthews.
So you play with guns, too?
Why not? Only I'm not playing. I'm quite serious.
Put the heater away, Finch. You can't get away with this.
Can't I? May I point out that the candle on the table is one of my own. It is a 3-hour candle. 3 hours from now, I shall be quietly ensconced in my bed after a stop at a nearby tea shop and a brief conversation with my landlady when I arrive home. You two, unless you promise to behave, will be here.
All right, get him, Mackie. With pleasure.
You see, Sparks, I'm quite serious.
Just let me get my hands on you.
Naturally not. And since you are the only witness to the death of poor, stupid Matches... Oh. Quite neat. Now, a few sheets of celluloid. Thus. And then on my way. Do your work, little candle. Gleaming so brightly in this dark, dark world.
In just a moment, Crime Does Not Pay will continue with the Celluloid Candle. Now we continue with Crime Does Not Pay, starring Ralph Forbes as Morgan Finchley in The Celluloid Candle. It would, of course, be pleasant to report that Morgan Finchley walked out of his meeting with the unfortunate Sparks and Matches directly into the arms of the proper authorities. But such was not the case. His candle did its work. By the time the fire department arrived, the old frame building was beyond saving. Sparks and Matches were unidentifiable in the smoldering ruins. Morgan Finchley was on his own, and he operated accordingly.
Mr. Darlington, I am a credit investigator.
Yes, so your card informed me.
Therefore, I am in a position to know the financial status of many businessmen.
Obviously. But what you have to do with me, I hardly see.
I think you do see, Mr. Darlington. Darlington Mills are on the verge of bankruptcy.
What are you driving at, Finchley?
I have the means to rescue you from your predicament, Mr. Darlington.
Then you're a genius.
In some respects, yes. You see, I happen to know that you are rather heavily insured. Fire insurance, Mr. Darlington.
Ridiculous. You'd never get away with it.
Perhaps you have heard of the Union Shirt Factory, the stateside chemical company, the Master Tailor clothing plant.
You set those fires?
Oh, let's not be crudely direct, Mr. Darlington. Let us say rather that I was part of the modus operandi which enabled those companies to collect sufficient insurance to get back on their feet.
Well, if you did that, you are a genius.
I consider myself rather a benefactor of humanity, Mr. Darlington. You see, without my efforts, many people would now be out of work. As is, they're all gainfully employed. And, well, many small boys have been delighted to see the engines roll and watch the firemen at their work.
You're a rascal, Finchley. But I think we may be able to do business. Really, gentlemen, I see no cause for this summary treatment. Why have I been brought here?
I'm the fire marshal, Darlington. Horton's the name. This is Sergeant Newell, homicide detail.
How do you do, Mr. Darlington?
Yes, how do you do? I'd still like to know
why we sent a radio car for you.
Yes, I'm a busy man. A new site for my factory. I must see the insurance company.
I see, yes, the insurance. Well, it won't be paid just yet, Mr. Darlington. I've requested the company to withhold payment.
You've exceeded your authority.
Have I? When my men searching the remains of your plant found the main sprinkler valve intact and closed, Mr. Darlington.
I don't quite follow.
I think you do. I think you know that whoever set that fire for you closed that valve before the incendiary material went off.
I had no such idea.
And perhaps you had no idea, Darlington, that a fireman was killed inside your factory.
What? I had no idea.
The fact was kept out of the newspapers at the request of homicide. A death caused by a fire of incendiary origin, Darlington, changes the charge from arson to murder.
That's why you're here?
That's why you're here, too.
But this is... It's ridiculous. I wasn't even near the place.
You think we're complete fools, Darlington?
But why me?
Because you were on the edge of ruin, Darlington. This we know.
It's more than arson now. It's murder. Now, if you tell us, we might let you plead to an attempt to defraud.
If not, you'll face arson and conspiracy charges.
And the murder charge.
Now, who set that fire for you?
We'll find out anyway, Darlington, so you better talk.
We mean business talk, or we book you for murder.
Now, stop stalling. You're caught and you know it.
All right, gentlemen. I'll talk.
Will you repeat what you're going to say to a stenographer?
Yes. Yes, of course.
All right, start talking.
His name is Morgan Finchley. He works for a credit firm.
Which one?
I don't know.
Undoubtedly an alias, anyway.
All right, Darlington, go on.
Well, he made an offer. He knew how close to the edge I was. And, heaven help me, I took the offer. It looked like a way out. I never thought anyone would get hurt.
That's what they all say. They never thought.
Can you identify this man?
If I ever see him again,
I hope you will. I sincerely hope you will.
Meanwhile, you'll be watched, Darlington. If he attempts to contact you, let me know, and we'll tell you what to do.
Is that all?
Except that I have to go to that fireman's funeral. That's all for now.
It's a neat proposition, isn't it, Mr. Lowry?
Very neat indeed, and apparently no risk on my part.
Precisely. Are we in business together, Mr. Lowry?
You want half the insurance?
Yes, that's my usual price for my services and silence, Mr. Lowry.
All right, Finchley, but work quickly. My creditors are closing in fast.
So, sprinkler turned off, windows just right for a good draft. Candle and celluloid protected from the open window. And all these inflammable. Lovely, lovely, just lovely. Now then. Small candle flame in the gloom. How pretty. To paraphrase the bard, burn, burn, brief candle, life's but a walking shadow. A poor player that struts and frets his hour upon the stage and then burns no more. It is a tale told by an idiot full of sound and fury, signifying nothing. On your way, Morgan Finchley. I wonder what poor old Matches would have thought of my erudition. You were addressing me, officer.
I am. What are you doing in this neighborhood this time of night?
Why, this has been a pastime of mine for years. I enjoy wandering about the factory districts at night when they're deserted.
Oh, you do you? And how do I know you didn't come out of, say, the Lowry warehouse just before I turned the corner?
Oh, this is preposterous. I'm a respectable citizen. I will not be treated like a common criminal.
Sorry, mister. We got orders. Pick up everyone. Vagrancy charges. Too much burglary hereabouts recently. Come along quietly now.
I demand the jailer. I demand to know what I'm held for. A citizen has a right to know the charge placed against him. Jailer! Jailer!
All right, quiet, you. Quiet.
I've never been treated like this in my life. My pockets empty, incarcerated, ignored. Makes me the third degree. Well, at long last. At long last indeed.
This way.
Where's my property?
You'll see Sergeant Newell.
Is that the red-faced person behind the desk?
You'll find out. Save the conversation. In here.
You the man they picked up at Thousand John Street?
I am.
Booked under the name of Marvin Forster?
I am, and I demand
My name
to
is
know.
Newell, Sergeant Homicide. This is Fire Marshal Horton.
Well, I am honored, gentlemen.
Are you?
I'm afraid I do not understand your attitude, gentlemen. I am a respectable citizen.
Who set fire to the Lowry warehouse tonight?
The Lowry? Oh. The place your good policeman accused me of breaking and entering.
It caught fire less than 1 hour after you were picked up.
But in that case, I was safely in your very strong jail, gentlemen.
Save it, Finchley.
Are you addressing me, Sergeant?
Definitely. Your hotel key was in your pocket. We searched your room with a warrant. We found you'd registered under Morgan Finchley, but you gave us a different name. And we found... Tell him, Marshal.
We found a supply of sheet celluloid and a dozen candles with tie markings on them. We've got you, Finchley.
We had you in our pocket, Finchley, by accident, but we had you. The general pickup order paid off.
You can't prove anything. It's all circumstantial.
We've got Lowry, too. He'll identify if he knows what's good for him. And your old friend Darlington has already had a look at you. He knows you. Knows you well enough to put the finger on you for murder.
I'm being framed. That's it. I'm being framed. I can't get away with it. You'll pay for this. All of you. You can't do it.
Oh, shut up, will you? You're done and you know it. Now throw him back in his cell and take away his tie, belt, and shoelaces. This is one arson bug who's really going to burn.
Crime does not pay. Ralph Forbes, who was starred as Morgan Finchley in The Celluloid Candle, will be back with you in just a moment. Now here in person is Ralph Forbes.
Men like Morgan Finchley could not operate unless so-called honest citizens, in moments of weakness or worse, decide to make use of their nefarious skills. Think about this a moment. Think of the losses involved to every one of us in property, self-respect, and the added taxes demanded for increased law enforcement. Think of it this way, and you'll see that for everyone, everywhere, not merely the criminal, crime does not pay.
Thank you, Mr. Forbes. Crime Does Not Pay is written by Ira Marion and directed by Mark C. Loeb, with music composed and conducted by John Gart. Technical advisor is Burton B. Turkis. The events, characters, and names used in the story you've just heard are fictitious. Any similarity is purely coincidental. This is Bob Williams speaking.
This, I believe. Guy A. West has been in the educational world for the past 30 years. Born in Arkansas, he was raised in the open country of New Mexico. He saw the West grow in this past half-century. And now he is participating in the development of the young people there as the president of a recently established state college in Sacramento, California. Here is the creed of Dr. West.
Lying under the stars one clear night while still in my teens, I first became aware of the difficulty of conceiving an infinite universe. Focusing upon the starless patch of the heavens, I said to myself, there must be an end to space, but where and what is it? My position was as futile as that of a microbe, ending its full life in the crack of an elephant's skin and calling it a world. I also had difficulty comprehending the origin or the creation of such a huge and marvelously complicated structure as the universe seemed to be. And then there was a question of purpose. Had God created millions of galaxies merely to select one small speck called Earth upon which to establish man? And why so many other creatures, ranging from microbes to dinosaurs? Later, I learned that the ancient philosophers reasoned that material objects must consist of infinitely small, fast-moving particles, or atoms. Modern science confirmed this and stated that the atom was composed of minute energy particles, moving very rapidly and having electrical properties. Since mental activity also involved electrical current of waves, it seemed likely that mind and matter ultimately might be one and possibly one with God. I therefore speculated that our experiences are but waves of thought in the infinite mind of God. I also considered the possibility that our solar system might be but an atom of higher order and an inconceivably large object of which we might be but corpuscles or microbes, some of us beneficial, others non-beneficial, to the main object or to the body of God which we inhabited. Such was the impact of a little learning upon a little mind with a lot of curiosity. To speculate further, I am convinced of the inadequacy of the naive conception of God as a man some 6 feet tall, weighing some 200 pounds. The power that we call God must be ever so much more than this. So much more, in fact, as to overtax my conceptual powers. But I do not have to know all about food, clothing, and mechanical devices to appreciate them and to benefit from them. However, there is a wise and proper use of such things which leads to growth and health and happiness, while unwise use leads to discomfort and even death or destruction. So I believe it is with God. For me, the greatest blessings come from the most harmonious adjustment on my part, and from my effort to discover and to live in accord with noble purposes rather than petty, selfish aims. And so I believe there is a great purpose behind what I dimly see of the universe, and that God the infinite power is the designer. I believe he has given man intelligence, so that perhaps through centuries of evolution, we may play an increasingly greater part in the achievement of his plan or purpose. I believe we should live and work effectively for that purpose, even though we see it but dimly now. And finally, I believe that this will so contribute to the improvement of man that ultimately the spark of divinity which is in all men will glow more brightly and enable us to see God more clearly and to understand his purpose more thoroughly.
That was Guy A. West, an educator, a successful trout fisherman, and an active citizen in his community.
Calling all detectives. When I kept an appointment in a hotel lobby, I didn't realize it was an appointment with death. That is the situation on this page from my casebook. The casebook of Jerry Browning, private detective. A private detective like me, Jerry Browning, never knows where he's headed. Why, I once even made a date with death. It was 3 o'clock of a Saturday afternoon when I walked into the lobby of the Wingate Hotel. The reason I was at the Wingate was because I had a date with Joey Greer. Joey called himself a salesman, and what he sold was underworld information. That's why Joey made appointments for crowded public places, because there was safety in numbers. Joey offered me the lowdown on the brains behind a big hot money ring. The man who strolled over to me was Frank McGloon, the house detective. Until you came in, Jerry, it was a nice, quiet week. Do me a favor, don't start nothing in here. Oh, me? I'm waiting for a friend, McGloon. Yeah, sure you are. Jerry, if I'd have studied my lessons when I was a kid, I would be a gent like them monkeys over there, instead of a gumshoe like you and me. McGloon indicated a group of distinguished-looking men. I recognized 2 of them as Carter James and Harvey Paulson of the university faculty. Just then, a short man joined the group. That's Stuart Jackson, the new history prof. They're lunching him in the gold room. Boy, that's the life. Too mild for guys like us, McGloon. I glanced at my wristwatch. Got stood up, huh? Goodbye now. I'm not leaving. Just have to make a phone call. I pushed open the phone booth's door and didn't have to make the call, because there was Joey Greer, slumped on the floor of the booth, stabbed in the back. I rolled him over, and from his hand fell a scrap of paper with some numbers scrawled on it. There'd never be safety in numbers for Joey again, because he was very dead. A man who promised to sell me some information about a hot money ring was murdered, and in his hand I found some numbers scrawled on a scrap of paper. Lieutenant Dawson of Homicide put his feet up on his desk.
Joey was asking to be killed. He knew too much, Jerry.
Sure, but where's the knife, Dawson? And what about those numbers on the paper?
The knife will turn up, and the numbers, probably track entries or odds. Joey must have been calling his bookie when he got it in the bank.
Joey didn't play the horses. Dawson shrugged.
Okay, you figure it out. You're good at figures.
Back at my office, I brooded over that scrap of paper. There were 3 sets of 4-digit numbers written one below the other in a column. They read 1815, 1066, 1492. They could add up to anything: phone numbers, street addresses, or Joey's profits on payoffs. I tried the phone number routine first, coupled each of the numbers with every telephone exchange from Alhambra to Zenith. It took 4 hours and got me nothing but a sore arm and a big phone bill. I thought of working with street addresses, but we've got over 1,000 streets in town. Joey wouldn't leave me an impossible clue like that. About 7 p.m. that evening, I finally gave up. Drove to the home of John Manfred, head of the District Banking Association. Mr. Manfred, I need advice. Look. I showed him the numbers, told him my story.
Well, this can't be a list of bills, Jerry. Money numbers run into 8 digits, and they're always preceded and followed by a series letter. However, let me copy the numbers. I'll work on them tonight, and you meet me at my office first thing in the morning.
Banker's hours, in spite of what you may have heard, start awful early. At 8:15, John Manfred and I were at work covering sheets of paper with possible combinations. Suddenly, that time element gave me an idea. And look, Mr. Manfred, could these figures possibly be dates or hours, like 10/6/6 being October 6th at 6 o'clock? Possibly. You explore that angle. I'll check to see whether the numbers represent amounts deposited by Greer in any banks. Well, what we got for our double effort was nothing. Police blotters showed that October 6th had been an extremely quiet day. And as for Joey Greer's deposits, he had an account with the Fourth National, but it was singularly inactive. No deposits, no withdrawals since the 4th of last August. And that was that. So I tried the most fantastic way I could think of. I called on Professor Zorokin, numerologist. Very simple. We total the column. We arrive at the sum 4,373. Now we add these digits horizontally. Oh, yes. Comes up the mystic number 17. Add these and we get the highly significant numeral 8. 8 means wait. When were you born, Mr. Browning? I grabbed the column of figures from the professor. Skip it, I'm in no mood for razzmatazz. Professor Zorokin was offended. Mr. Browning, please, you haven't let me finish. The number 8 is most significant. Think of its role in civilization. It was the 8th King of England, Henry, who achieved great things for his nation, over and above his amazing marital record. It was the 8th President of the United States, Martin Van Buren, who put the treasury of this country on a firm foundation. Mr. Browning, where are you going? Now I knew where I could get help. That word history had rung a bell in my brain. I remembered a verse we'd all chanted as kids. In 1492, Columbus sailed the ocean blue. 1492 was one of the numbers, and I was catching on fast to the other two. I saw Stuart Jackson between classes at the university. Mr. Jackson, you've been pointed out to me as a history expert. I would like you to confirm something for the police files. Jackson took a look at the numbers, and his face went white. You can prove nothing. None of these towns link up to me. My record is clear. I blinked. And then, because I know a guilty guy when I see one, it's no use, Jackson. We found the knife with your fingerprints on it. He wilted fast after that, admitted he was the brains of the hot money ring, and that he killed Joey Greer to keep him from revealing that fact. But he didn't count on Joey's kind of mind. Joey knew he was dying and scrawled a simple code. 1066, the Battle of Hastings. Everybody knows that one. 1815, the Battle of Waterloo. 1492, Columbus. What did it spell out? The names of cities. Hastings, Nebraska, Waterloo, Iowa, Columbus, Ohio. The 3 cities in which the hot money ring shuffled stolen currency around. After Jackson's confession, federal agents rounded up the whole gang. But it's a funny thing. We never did find the murder weapon, the knife Jackson said he hid in a potted palm in the hotel lobby. I suppose a souvenir hound got it. They'll take anything. But by then, we didn't need it for a conviction. Like I said, when a criminal makes a date with death for somebody else, he generally makes one for himself as well.
Listen next time to Calling All Detectives. Mystery drama, mystery quiz, and a chance for you to match wits with yours truly, Jerry Browning, Private Detective.
Murder at midnight.
Which way did he go?
That way. Down through the garden.
This storm. It's so dark you can't see. Dr. Rudd. There, at the bottom of the terrace.
Professor Laborde. Laborde, why Oh, good Lord.
What is it?
He must have fallen down the steps, broken his neck. He's dead.
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in The Kabalah. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's masters of the macabre. Our story by Robert Newman is The Kabalah. A rambling house on the outskirts of a small university town. And in the house, a room that seems more like the cell of a medieval alchemist than the study of a college professor. Its walls lined with ancient volumes and astrolabes and other curious instruments. Bent over his desk, Dr. Rudd does not hear the knock on the door at first. But when it's repeated, he says, "Come in."
Alan's going, Father. He wanted to say good night to you.
Oh, yes, Alan. Good night.
I was terribly sorry to hear about the decision of the Board of Trustees, sir. I mean, they're refusing to give you a grant to go on with your research.
Oh, that. Well, it doesn't matter. I've about decided to give up the whole project anyway.
Your book?
Yes.
Father, you're not serious. I thought you were almost finished with it.
I am. All but the last chapter. I just can't seem to write that without additional research. And without the last chapter, why, the rest of the book is meaningless.
Oh, isn't there anyone you could talk to about it, sir? Anyone who could help you?
I doubt it, Alan. I think I know as much about the occult as anyone in the world, except perhaps one man.
Who's that, Father?
The man I studied under at the University of Paris. And I haven't heard from him in over 10 years. I'm not even sure that he's still alive. Too bad this is the 20th century, not the 12th.
How so, Dr. Rudd?
Oh, it would have been very simple then. A pentacle, a pair of quartz candles, and I could summon up someone who would make things very easy for me. Yes, right now I really believe I won't sell my soul for the help I need.
Father, you mustn't say things like that, even as a joke.
Well, you're right, Bob. And no one knows it better than I. Well, good night, Alan. See you in the morning.
Right, Dr. Rudd. Good night.
I'll walk you down to the road, Alan.
Oh, fine, dear. Pretty depressed, isn't he?
Father? Yes. Not that I blame him. 4 years' work. The definitive book on occultism, the supernatural. Alan!
Yes, I see it, too. Someone or something lying in the road. Come on.
An old man, and he's dressed so strangely.
He looks like an Arab. Wonder what he's doing around here. Anyway, he seems in a bad way. Here, I'll carry him into the house. You run ahead and tell your father.
All right.
In here, Alan, in my study.
All right.
We'll put him on the couch. What's wrong with him?
Well, it's hard to say, but I think it's just exhaustion.
Oh, his pulse is very weak. Barbara, call Dr. Stevens.
Of course, Father. He's opening his eyes.
Where? What is this place? No, it's all right. You're among friends. We're sending for a doctor.
A doctor? You're kind, but it's too late. Allah stretches his hand out for me.
Nonsense. All you need is some food, rest.
No, I'm dying. But if you are indeed friends, one last request. Will you grant it?
If we possibly can.
I am at heart a Sufi. I come of a long, ancient line. Will you see that I get proper burial?
Oh, yes, of course.
I have no gold, no money, but...
He's fainting. Loose this rope, Alan.
Right. Say, he's got something hidden here. A parchment scroll.
The Kabalah. You've taken the Kabalah.
It's all right.
No, you must not. It's a curse. Into the fire. Destroy it. If you use it.
Father.
Yes. Yes, he's dead. May his soul rest in peace.
You're very quiet tonight, Dr. Rudd. Thinking about the funeral?
Huh?
Our Arab friend?
Yes, Alan. Partly. And partly about this parchment he had hidden in his room. It seems to be a form of the Kabalah.
That's right. That's what he called it when he got so excited. Wanted you to destroy it. But the Kabalah is just the science of letters and numbers, isn't it?
It's much more than that, Barbara. It's the science of the mystical attributes of letters and numbers, the basis for almost all occultism. But this system is different from any I ever saw before.
Different? How?
Well, this particular system tells how a question can be written out, the letters changed into numbers and manipulated. When the numbers are changed back into letters, they will answer the question.
Listen, Professor, what do you say we try it?
Try it?
Sure. Of course, it's a lot of nonsense, but, well, why not?
Oh, well, all right. There's paper and pencils on my desk.
What are you going to ask, Father?
Oh, something simple, something we can check.
Me, I'm going to ask something really practical. Okay, Professor, let's go.
How are you coming, Father?
Almost finished. Now, let's see. Zadek, Mem, Vav. Great Scott.
What is it?
Look at this. Here's my question. Will we have any visitors today?
Uh-huh.
And here's the answer. 2 visitors. Professor Laborde and someone else.
Professor Laborde?
Do you remember my telling you yesterday that there was one person in the world who could give me the help I needed to finish my book?
Yes.
That man was Professor Laborde.
Father, you don't really believe it, do you?
I don't know. I told you I haven't seen or heard from him in 10 years. But just the same...
Dr. Rudd, look.
Hmm?
Look here, I got something, too.
What is it, Alan?
Well, here's my question. How can the professor get the money to continue with his research?
Yes.
Here's the answer. Call Mark Endicott.
What?
Of course. Why don't you, Father? He's always been interested in you and your work.
Well, I just never thought of it. I'll go in and call him right away.
Well, Father, did you get him?
Yes. Yes, it's very strange.
In what way?
He said that he'd been thinking about me a good deal lately, and he's driving out here this evening to see me.
There. That's the answer to your question. 2 visitors. Professor Laborde and someone else. Well, he must be the someone else.
You think so?
Oh, of course.
Somehow I don't.
Well, what do you mean, sir?
I don't know. Except that I don't like it.
It's beginning to look as if our Kabalah is a washout after all.
What makes you say that?
Well, 11 o'clock and no sign of either Laborde or Endicott.
I can't understand it. Endicott definitely said that he was driving out here and that he was leaving immediately.
He probably changed his mind because of the storm. But it's still pretty bad out, isn't it?
Yes, but it's not like him. Think he'd phone us and let us know. Oh, perhaps that's he now. Hello? Yes? This is Professor Rudd speaking. Who? Oh, yes. What? But that's impossible. I spoke to him only a few hours ago, and... Why, I can't believe it. You're sure? Oh, I see. But thank you. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Who was it, Father?
That was Mark Endicott's attorney.
His attorney? What did he want?
Mark Endicott was killed at about 6 o'clock this afternoon.
Killed?
On his way here, an auto accident. His attorney called to tell me Endicott had left me a $5,000 bequest for research.
What? Father, the Kabalah. It said you were to call him for the money to continue your work. It didn't actually say he was coming out here.
No.
Wait a minute. You mean, you really think
I
that...
don't know, Alan. But I do know that if I hadn't called him, he wouldn't have started driving here in the storm. He wouldn't have had the accident and been killed. And I probably wouldn't have gotten the money.
But, Father, if it's true, if it has some sort of supernatural power, then what about Professor Laborde? It did say he was coming.
Oh, please, Bob, I told you I don't know. Endicott was my friend. Now he's dead. And somehow I feel as if
Father, the door.
Yes. Yes, let's see who it is.
Great Scott, Professor, if it is Laborde, do you realize what this means?
Yes, Alan.
If it is, why, the thing's priceless, absolutely priceless. Why,
I beg your pardon. I'm sorry to trouble you, but...
Come in, Professor Laborde. Come in. We've been expecting you for some time now.
An ancient manuscript which can foretell the future. A dead man and a visitor from the dead. As the clock strikes 12 for murder at midnight. And now, back to Murder at Midnight and the Kabalah. It's just a moment or two later, and Professor Laborde is being shown into Dr. Rudd's study.
In here, Professor Laborde. Barbara, will you take the professor's things?
Of course, Father.
Thank you, my dear. You're very kind. But there's something I do not understand, Dr. Rudd. When you opened the door, you said you had been expecting me.
Since early this afternoon.
But that is impossible. Completely impossible. I'm here entirely by accident. I had no idea you lived here or anywhere near here. I lost my way in the storm, knocked at your particular door by chance to ask for directions.
Nevertheless, we've been expecting you.
Excuse me, how could you have been?
Alan.
Yes, sir?
Show Professor Laborde the Kabalah, will you please?
Right, Professor. Here you are, sir.
Kabalah?
Look at it, Professor. Tell me what you think of it.
Interesting. Very interesting. Of course, I cannot be sure without examining it thoroughly. But it appears to be even older than the Black Grimoire. And its form resembles that of the Key of Solomon.
Professor Laborde, it's my belief that it is the Key of Solomon.
What? But it can't be. It's been written about for centuries, of course, mentioned in hundreds of works, from Trismegistus down. But there's never been any proof that it ever actually existed. And still, where did you get it?
From an old Arab who came here last night and died here.
The main thing is we tested it.
Tested it?
Yes, we asked two questions. The answer to one of them prophesied your coming here, and the other, well, that came true, too.
But this is beyond words.
If it's true, then it's the most priceless discovery that has ever... Professor Rudd, may I try it? Use it to ask a question to?
Well, I don't know, Professor Laborde.
Please. For years now, ever since I began studying the supernatural, there's been something. One thing I've always said I'd give my very life to know. If it can tell me that, you must let me, Rudd. And you must let me do it while I'm alone.
Well, all right.
Good.
Come on, Alan, Barbara. We'll wait outside.
What time is it now, Professor?
It's 20 hours.
He's been at it for quite a while.
Yes. If he doesn't call us in another minute or two, we'll go in.
I'm probably being very silly, but I don't like this, any of it.
Why not, Barbara?
I don't know, but... What's that?
Professor Laborde, come on. Professor Laborde, what is it? What's happened? What are you doing?
He's burning something in the fire.
Father, it's his hands. He's holding them in the fire, burning.
Great Scott, Professor Laborde, stop. Stop. Have you gone mad?
Fire! Only fire can burn my hands clean again. I asked. Now I must pay.
Laborde.
Let me go. Let go. I am coming. I'll pay.
Professor Laborde, come back. Quick, Alan.
Okay. Which way did he go?
That way. Down through the garden.
The stone. It's so dark I can't see. Dr. Rudd. There, at the bottom of the terrace.
Professor Laborde. Laborde, why... Oh, good Lord.
What is it?
He must have fallen down the steps, broken his leg. He's dead. All right now, Alan. Put him down. Gently.
Yes, sir.
Father, are you sure that...
Yes, Barbara, I'm sure. He's dead.
But what made him do it? Go running out there that way?
It must have been something to do with the Kabalah. He was going to ask it a question.
Yes, Alan, it has something to do with the Kabalah.
And standing there with his hands in the fire, as if he were trying to burn them clean. Father, what was the question he asked? What answer did he get?
I think perhaps I can guess.
The old Arab, he warned us, remember? He said it was accursed, evil, that if we used it... Wait a minute, Dr. Rudd. The board said he'd give his life to know the answer to that question, and now he's dead.
Yes, Alan, that's what was in my mind, too. That and one more thing. Do you remember what I said just before you found the old Arab in the garden? That I'd make a pact with the devil, sell my very soul for the help I needed to finish my book?
No, Father, you're not serious. You don't mean you really believe
I've lived too long, my dear, seen too many strange things to disbelieve anything. If the Kabalah is everything we think it is, if it is the key to the future, to all knowledge, if it can answer any question we put to it, then there are only two sources from which it can draw its power. One good and one evil.
And you think...
If God had wished us to be able to foresee the future, we should be able to foresee it. On the other hand, if it's evil, well, there's usually a penalty involved.
The board. He said something about paying, too. Who must be paid, and how?
There's only one way to find out, through the Kabalah itself. Give it to me, Alan.
No, please, no.
I'm sorry, Barbara, I must. There's no need for you to stay here, or Alan.
No, Father. We'll stay, both of us.
Very well. Then, here goes.
shivering, darling. Are you cold? Shall I build up the fire?
No, I'm not cold. What was that?
It sounded like the outside door opening in here.
Father, what is it? Are you finished?
Yes. Yes, I'm finished.
And what?
Look. Here's the question.
Who must be paid, and how?
And here's the answer.
Turn around, and you will see.
Father, the door behind us, it just opened.
Yes.
I don't dare turn around.
You needn't. Right in front of you, there on the wall. Look.
Something black, like a stain, a blot. But it's spreading, moving.
Like an octopus. Or like
its shadow. It's coming toward us.
What in heaven's name is it?
Whatever it is, whatever happens to us, no one shall ever again be cursed as we've been cursed. The Kabalah, give it to me.
Father, what are you doing?
What I should have done when I first saw it. Destroy it. Throw it into the fire.
It's coming closer. Closer. Professor, isn't there anything we can do? Anything that...
Father, look. The parchment burning. There on the wall.
The shadow of the andirons. In the shape of the crux ansata. The first cross.
Good Lord. The shadow, it's wavering. Drawing back, retreating. I'm going to turn around. See what...
No, wait. Wait until... All right. Now.
There's nothing there.
The board? The board? Dr. LeBoard.
Someone just came in. Who's there? Who is that?
Oh, excuse me. I'm terribly sorry. I'm looking for someone. An old man with white hair and white beard. His name's... Holy smoke, there he is, Dr. LeBoard. Dr. LeBoard.
I can't answer you. He's dead.
Dead?
Who are you, anyway?
Well, an attendant at a private hospital in town. We've been taking care of him ever since he got to this country. Nervous breakdown. He disappeared this afternoon, and he'd been talking about you so much lately that I had a hunch he might have come out here.
Talking about me? But he said he had no idea I lived here.
Of course he knew. I told you he wasn't right in the head. That was one of the signs.
Father, if it's true, if his mind was going, that would explain what he did. Burning his hands, running away like that.
You mean the Kabalah didn't have any occult power? What about the money from Endicott?
Oh, just a coincidence.
And what just happened? That shadow we saw on the wall?
Well, it was only a shadow. It could have been just our imagination.
Yes, Barbara, it could have been. But somehow, I don't think it was.
An old professor stands next to the body of his friend, staring at the fireplace where the secret of the ages has gone up in smoke as the clock strikes 12 for murder at midnight. Remember to be with us again when death whispers from the darkness in an unknown tongue, and the clocks strike 12 for murder at midnight. The part of Dr. Rudd was played by James Van Dyke. With music by Bert Berman, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
This I believe. For the past 31 years, Dr. H.C. Carlson has coached the varsity basketball teams at his alma mater, the University of Pittsburgh. In that time, he has turned out many championship teams and All-American players. But what is more important, he has imparted to the boys he works with a strong sense of fairness and responsibility. These are Dr. Carlson's beliefs.
Please believe me, I feel very humble and inadequate in this task at hand. My vocation is medicine. My avocation is coaching the Pitt basketball team. My exercise is mowing my lawn. And my belief is that they are all similar media of action for reaching a higher plane of existence. Each simulates painful action prior to sacred victory. Medicine is a way of giving service. Coaching presents the pageantry of adventure. The greens of nature symbolize security. When the breadwinner is apparently on his deathbed, an anxious wife and mother is a picture of anxious prayer, and innocent little children are gazing at you as if you were a god, then, as the family doctor, you are bound to appreciate and beseech a higher power for help. When the possibility of the death of a patient causes me sleeplessness and a faltering of faith, then a retreat to visions of helping healthy youngsters blossoming to full growth and usefulness through athletics may bring a restful calm. When a few minutes of happy surveillance compensates for hours of drudgery in mowing my lawn, there must be some kindly province I have reached as a reward for my best applicable efforts. The philosophy develops that in giving my best, the greatest compensation is an endowment by a higher power in the reward of greater capabilities. No matter how poor in human attributes, going all out in a worthy task at hand causes one's best to become better. Today, our best may not be sufficient to win, but tomorrow it may have developed sufficiently to conquer. Physically, mentally, and socially, the man giving his best today is a better man tomorrow. I believe in people, in my community, and in my institution, and I believe they deserve my best. I hope to radiate sunshine and warmth through a smile and a greeting happily given. Even if it isn't dignified, I want to be willing to cross the street merely to say hello to a friend and then return to the first side to continue on about my business. I hope to inspire others and to be inspired by them. I wish my patients to live a pattern of life that gives off the byproducts of health and happiness. I want my players to develop habits of good training, sound conditioning, and a healthy emotional drive to get better every game, and then have an applicable carryover to produce in other fields of human relationships and welfare. I try to learn and apply the lessons of nature. Difficult situations comparable to briars may project themselves, inviting injuries for the person with an aggressive, direct approach. An apparently indirect approach near the roots of briars finds a smoother and less harmful place for attack. Society has been kind to me, and I am indebted. I want to pay back some of that debt every day. As long as I am able to give, there will be less trouble to get. If I give my best today, it may not be quite good enough. But if I keep trying now, I know it will be better later.
They're the creed of Dr. H.C. Carlson, Director of Men's Student Health Service and varsity basketball coach at the University of Pittsburgh.
The Cudahy Packing Company, makers of Old Dutch Cleanser and Delrich, is happy to bring you today's Nick Carter adventure transcribed. This was done so that everyone connected with this program would be able to spend Christmas Day at home with their families. And now, new wonderful Old Dutch Cleanser, the only cleanser made with activated seismotite, invites you to stand by for Nick Carter, Master Detective. Today's Nick Carter adventure starring Lon Clark, The Case of the Phantom Shoplifter, brought to you by new wonderful Old Dutch Cleanser. It is mid-afternoon as Sergeant Matheson and Nick Carter in a speeding police car turn into a street of cheap rooming houses.
You can understand, Nick, that Warren's specialty shop can't stand losing all those expensive fur coats, even if it is a big woman's store.
You sure it's the work of shoplifters?
Sure. And we think Peggy Matthews, the girl we're going to see, is one of the shoplifters.
Mm-hmm. Any reason to pin it on her?
Well, one of these store detectives spotted her in the store this afternoon, but she got away from him. But after she left, another fur coat was gone.
You just found out where she lives, huh?
Yeah, we learned who she was from a beautiful set of fingerprints she left on a plastic case she'd been handling. So I got a warrant to pick her up on suspicion.
How many fur coats have they lost, Matty?
Oh, a dozen or more, Nick. Each of them worth over $3,000.
Hey, quite a loss.
Yeah.
Must have been mink, huh?
They were.
What do you want?
What? Well, who are you?
This is my rooming house. I'm the landlady.
We want to see Peggy Matthews.
What do you want Peggy for?
Take a look at this badge.
Couple of flat feet.
Whoa, yo.
Okay, second floor. Turn right into the hall.
Well, that's better. Come on, Nick.
Right with you.
Now, hope you fall and break your head.
Thanks. She said turn right at the top of the stairs.
Yeah.
This must be the room.
I don't hear anything, Nick. Well, with this warrant, we can go right in. Hey, door isn't locked.
Great Scott.
Oh.
Someone moved faster than we did, Matty. She's been strangled with one of her own nylon stockings.
Nick and Matty are back in the murdered girl's room after unsuccessfully searching the house for the killer. Several men from the homicide squad have just arrived and are going to work as Patsy Bowen hurries in.
I came as fast as I could, Nick. Oh, you didn't tell me it was a murder.
We called you, Patsy, because we thought this needed a woman's touch.
Oh?
Yeah, this dead woman is Peggy Matthews, Patsy.
Uh-huh.
She's a shoplifter who was seen acting suspiciously in the Warren specialty store this afternoon, just before another mink coat disappeared.
Is this the coat here on the chair?
No, we found that one in a clothes closet.
She bought it a month ago in a small fur shop downtown. Now there's a label in the coat, and we phoned the store to check it. She paid $400 for it.
$400? For this rabbit skin?
Yeah?
Oh, she got stuck, but good.
That's why I wanted you to see it, Patsy. I needed your opinion.
Oh.
Hey, Nick, look, I've been thinking. Maybe we ought to bring the manager of the fur department of Warren's specialty shop down here to look at her, just to be sure this is the girl he saw, huh?
Good idea, Matty. Come on, Patsy. We'll bring her back here as soon as we can, Matty.
So this girl was murdered before you could talk to her, eh, Mr. Carter?
That's right, Mr. Dodd. You sure you recognize her again?
Oh, yes. This particular girl snooped around the fur department for some time. Although I didn't see her take anything.
But you kept an eye on her.
I'm afraid I didn't. You see, I was very busy with Miss Robard.
Miss Robard, she's a fashion expert on one of the women's magazines, isn't
That's
she?
right. Too bad this girl is dead, Mr. Carter. One of our most expensive fur coats was missing right after she left the store. Maybe she could have told us what happened to it.
Well, we want to know where that coat went. We'll have to find out some other way, Mr. Dodd. The final curtain has fallen for Peggy Matthews.
Well, Mr. Dodd, is this the woman you saw in your department store this afternoon?
Yes, Sergeant, I'm certain of it. No question at all.
Uh-huh. Well, okay, Mr. Dodd, and thanks for coming down.
Oh, Patsy and I'll run you back to the store, Mr. Dodd. We want to get a full description of the stolen coats anyway.
Can we leave at once, Mr. Carter? You see, Miss Robard is waiting for me to get back. We've been in conference all afternoon, but there's still a lot left to do.
Sure. We'll leave in just a moment. Hey, Matty.
Yeah, Nick.
Did you dig up anything where we were going?
Well, just one thing, Nick. The landlady broke down, finally, told me that Bruno Seeley has come here to see Peggy a couple of times recently.
Bruno Seeley, eh? Smart character. I'll have a talk with him shortly.
Oh, Mr. Dodd, would you give me your expert opinion as to the value of this fur coat? It belonged to Peggy.
She didn't shoplift that from our store, Miss Bowen. I'd roughly guess it was worth about $150.
Uh-huh. Well, Nick, I guess I'm a fairly good judge of fur values.
Patsy means that she told us Peggy Matthews was cheated when she paid $400 for this coat, Mr. Dodd. You just backed up her opinion.
I see.
Well, I don't think Miss Matthews minds being cheated anymore. Shall we go? Miss Bowen, Mr. Carter, this is Audrey Robard, the fashion expert I told you about.
Hello, Miss Robart.
How do you do? How do you do, Miss Robart? I'm familiar with your work in the magazines. It's lovely.
Why, thank you, Miss Bowen.
Oh, Nick, just look at all these gorgeous fur coats hanging on the racks here.
Yeah. Hey, Mr. Dodd, tell me, just how many coats have shoplifters taken from this store?
Why, I can't say exactly. I don't have the figures.
Are the prices on the coats? I mean, could anyone tell they were getting the best just by looking at the price tags?
No, indeed. Each coat is marked with a code number. Only the sales lady knows what it sells for.
And you have no idea how the coats were smuggled out of here?
None at all, Mr. Carter. The store detectives assigned to this department have spotted shoplifters dawdling about, followed them to the street, and stopped them. But although we found a number of stolen items, there wasn't a single fur coat.
Well, I don't think you're too careful with your coats, Mr. Dodd. All the time we've been talking, there's been a lovely coat lying right there on that display table with no one near it.
Oh, that's my coat, Miss Bowen. I threw it down there as I came in. And it's not as nice as it looks from here.
Oh,
well, you've had it a good many years, Audrey. Nothing lasts forever.
How right you are.
Mr. Carter, why don't you go up and see Mr. Warren, the owner of the store? He might be able to tell you things I couldn't.
Yeah, good idea. Is he here?
Well, it's almost closing time, but I'm sure he's here. He never leaves until later than this. His office is upstairs, 4th floor in the rear.
Good. I'll go see him. We need every scrap of information we can get. Sit down, both of you.
Thank you, Mr. Warren.
I don't mind telling you, Mr. Carter, how glad I am that you're helping us. Tell me, Mr. Warren, just how many coats have been stolen? 15. And the cheapest of them retail for $3,100.
Oh, say, they really made a haul, didn't they?
Over $50,000, Miss Bowen.
Golly.
Your store detectives haven't seen anything suspicious? Well, there is one rather odd thing. What's that? Lately, we seem to be attracting an unusual number of professional shoplifters. Many of them are known to our detectives.
But they haven't caught them with anything?
Well, just small, miscellaneous items, Miss Bowen. Never anything really valuable. There's no way of smuggling the coats out through a crooked employee, perhaps. Absolutely not, Mr. Carter. Why, we've checked that thoroughly. Yet we're completely at a loss to know how the coats get out of the store. Well, thanks, Mr. Warren. Oh, not at all, Mr. Carter, not at all. Now, please don't hesitate to call on me for any sort of help at any time. I will. And we may have news for you soon. Good. We got one clue that may lead us somewhere. In fact, we're going to see the man in question right now.
This is the place, Nick. Seeley's Bargain Outlet.
So that's what he calls it. Wonder how legitimate a business it really is.
Well, Bruno's already done one stretch as a fence for stolen goods. If anybody's in a position to direct a shoplifter's ring, Bruno Seeley's the man.
Well, matey, come on. Let's see what he has to say.
Right.
Nick, all the fur coats that were stolen were the very best quality, weren't they?
According to Mr. Warren, they were.
Mm-hmm. But, Nick, if Peggy Matthews got gypped on the coat she bought for herself, how would she know enough to pick out a really good one? The prices weren't on the coats.
Say, that's a very good thought, Patsy.
If Peggy got cheated so badly when she bought her own fur coat, it's proof she didn't know good furs from bad.
Hey, that's right. Oh, Patsy, it takes a woman to notice a clue like that.
And if I'm right, Peggy had nothing to do with stealing any of those coats.
Not unless someone pointed out the good ones to her first.
Yeah, Nick. Well, come on, let's go in and see if Seeley can throw some light on this.
Hello? Anybody here? Hello? That's funny. Hey, Bruno!
Bruno! Hey, Bruno!
Maybe he's in the back room.
Yeah, could be. Hey, the back room's empty, too.
What's that?
Sounds like somebody in pain.
It's coming from inside that closet.
Great Scott, it's Bruno. He's been stabbed badly.
Listen to me.
Just a minute. He's trying to tell us something.
Can't seem to breathe.
Bruno, I'm Nick Carter. Who stabbed you?
Don't know his name. Not his real name.
Yes, Bruno.
See, Marge Barnett. Go see Marge Barnett.
Marge Barnett. All right, Bruno.
In my pocket. Key. Post office box. Clark Street Station. Package.
Nick, I better call an ambulance. That won't be necessary, Matty. He's dead.
After summoning the homicide squad to take over at Bruno's store, Matty, Nick, and Patsy have hurried to the Clark Street branch of the post office, where they have just opened Bruno's post office box.
Yeah, there's a package here, but it don't weigh anything.
Well, open it up, Sergeant.
Yeah, that's what Bruno wanted us to do.
Yeah. Well, will you look at this?
Well, what in the world is it, Sergeant?
A string of beads from the Warren Specialty Shop.
And the price tag says only $15.
Yeah, I don't get it.
Hey, let me see that wrapper, will you?
Yeah, sure.
This package was postmarked early this afternoon at a postal substation near the Warren store.
And this necklace was stolen from that store today and mailed to Bruno.
Yeah, probably from a mailbox right in the store.
Well, of course, Nick. Warren's is a branch post office on the 4th floor.
Say, it's a smart idea. You nab something small, have an envelope all addressed, you just slip the loot inside, seal it, and mail it.
Yeah, but what has all this to do with stolen fur coats?
I don't know, Patsy. But we can be sure of one thing, Nick. The murders of Peggy and Bruno are tied up together somehow.
And to one man, Matty. Bruno said it was a man, but we didn't know who he was.
And just who is this Marge Barnett Bruno wanted us to see?
She used to be a pretty good confidence woman, Patsy.
Confidence woman?
Yeah, Patsy. Lots of these confidence women turn to shoplifting when they begin losing their nerve or their looks.
Look, I can get her address from our records, Nick. And you and Patsy can go and see her, huh?
Sure, Matty.
I'm going back to Bruno Seeley's store. I want to finish my report.
Okay, Matty. Patsy and I'll see Marge Barnett. We better hurry, because the murderer may have the same idea.
Oh, Nick, this is Marge Barnett's apartment. Here's the name below the bell.
Hope she's home.
Well, the police certainly keep an up-to-date file on crooks, don't they? Sergeant Matheson got this address for us in only a few minutes.
Yeah, Patsy. If people only knew how...
Yes?
Hello, Marge.
I beg your pardon. Am I supposed to know you?
I know you. You must have slipped to turn to shoplifting.
Who are you?
I'm Nick Carter.
Oh, Nick Carter, huh? Well, what do you want?
Shall we talk out here in the hall, where everybody can listen?
Oh, come on in. Snooping coppers give me a pain.
Thanks. This is Patsy Bowen, my assistant.
Trying to make a cop out of her, too? You ought to be ashamed.
Why, I like it.
Marge, Bruno's dead.
Bruno dead?
He was murdered, Marge. So was Peggy Matthews.
Who did it?
Suppose you tell me.
Oh. Goodbye, Carter. I'm not talking about nobody.
Now, wait, Marge, wait. Bruno was stabbed. When we found him, he still had a few seconds to live, and the last thing he told us was to come and see you.
Bruno said that, did he?
He did.
I wonder why.
Maybe he was trying to save your life. Hey, come on, tell me, how'd you get into this anyway?
Oh, I'm getting old, Carter. As you know, I've been everything from a cheap shill to the operator of a big store. From the best roper you ever saw to a plain subway dealer.
You've been what?
In English, Patsy. She means she fronted for con men and rose to become the operator of an important con game herself. She worked from the top as the smart, pretty girl who brings in the suckers. Being a subway dealer means she was reduced to dealing cards from the bottom of the deck.
Well, it sounds almost fascinating, if I could understand it.
How many of these small, inexpensive items did you steal, put into a package, and mail to Bruno, Marge?
So you're wise to that, huh? I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it was. Until fur coats and murder got mixed up in it.
Where do fur coats come in?
Look, Bruno paid you to steal these small articles for him. And paid you more than you could get anywhere else, didn't he?
Yeah. He said he had a particular customer for a lot of that junk.
All right. Just what orders did he give you?
Well, I never did understand it, Carter. We were supposed to show up at Warren's specialty shop at a certain time and just wander around.
Did those instructions include visiting the fur department?
Why, yeah. Yeah, well, we had to pass through the fur department on our way to the counter where this certain kind of glass junk was sold.
And you, lingered in the fur department.
What woman wouldn't?
She's got a point there, Nick.
Yeah. And this business is getting a little clearer.
Well, say help me, that's everything I know.
Well, thanks, Marge. All right, Patsy, come on. We'll make another call on Hugh Warren, who owns the store. I think we can do something for him if he'll do something for us first. I hate to bother you at your home like this, Mr. Warren.
It's perfectly all right, Mr. Carter. Perfectly all right.
I hope we're not interrupting your dinner, Mr. Warren.
Dinner? Why, Miss Bowen, it's after 9 o'clock.
Oh.
Well, so it is. We've been pretty busy.
Well, have you learned anything?
Enough so I think we're on the right track, Mr. Warren.
Good, good.
We'd like a key to your store and permission to go inside tonight. I want to look around a bit.
Why, I think that could be arranged. But a word of warning, Mr. Carter. This store is wired for burglar alarms, not only the outer doors, but many places inside the store. For example, the door to the cashier's office will flash an alarm if it is entered without a key. And there are other things to look out for, too.
We'll be careful, Mr. Warren.
I think you'll have no trouble if you follow my directions. Now, if you have a pencil, I'll give you a list of things to watch out for.
Golly, Nick. I never realized how lonesome a store like this can be after everyone's gone.
Yeah. Wonder where the watchmen are. Mr. Warren said there'd be 2 of them here. We haven't run into either one of them yet.
Well, it's positively eerie in here with just our 2 flashlights for company.
I see. According to Mr. Warren's directions, we turn right here. Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. Hey, lights are on in here.
Oh, Nick, look at all the fur coats, dozens of them.
All second-hand, Patsy.
Huh? Oh, yes, so they are. But some of them are still lovely. I know, Well, that's funny, Nick.
What's funny?
Remember how I thought for a minute this afternoon that Audrey Robart's coat was a new one?
Yeah, what about it?
Well, this coat here is her coat. The one I saw this afternoon.
You sure?
Positive. I took a close look at it as we went by, and I noticed this funny jagged tear in the lining. I'd know it anywhere.
Good for you, Patsy. Now I know I'm right.
What do you mean by that?
He means you have good eyesight and an excellent memory, Miss Bowen.
It's Miss Robart.
Don't move, either of you. My father taught me to use a gun when I was a girl.
I see Jason Dodd's with you. Showing you all those coats he has in his arm, no doubt.
Keep your hands up, Carter. You too, Miss Bowen. Yes, Jason and I stole those missing coats. We knew you'd find out, so we came back tonight to clean out the place. And we're going to. You can't stop us, Carter. Jason had his own keys, and he's arranged for the watchman to be in another part of the store for a while.
Too bad we came in just when we did.
Yes. It's too bad for you, Carter. Jason, put down those coats and walk around behind Carter and search him.
Look,
Do as I say, you fool. I know everything. We heard that much.
Yes, we've got to finish it up.
Keep your hands in the air, both of you. And don't reach for your purse, Miss Bowen. I know there's probably a gun in it.
Looks as if you hold all the cards, Miss Robart.
Jason, stand right behind Carter. Now reach over his shoulder. He probably carries his gun in his shoulder holster.
Patsy, cut the lights and run for it. Back to the cashier's office. We'll have to... There's a phone there. We can call the police.
Audrey, what happened?
Oh, you fool, Jason. How did he throw you like that?
I couldn't help it. He moved so fast. When I reached over his
Never
shoulder...
mind. They're headed for the cashier's office to phone.
Well, we can stop that. The switchboard's right over there. I can even find it in the dark.
And then find it. If we can stop them from calling for help, we've got them cornered. Carter? Carter, I know you're in that cashier's office.
Then come and get it.
Audrey, let's get out of here.
Not before I take care of Carter and the girl.
How are you going to do it?
Listen, they're in the cashier's office. And that's the only door right ahead of us.
Yes, but...
Oh, stop sniveling. We got Carter's gun. Miss Bowen dropped her handbag, and I found her gun in it.
Yes,
that means
yes.
they're unarmed. We can smash the glass panel in the door of the cashier's office and get them that way.
But, Audrey...
Grab one of those chairs and throw it through the glass.
Okay, I guess you're right. Here goes.
There, that does it. Carter, you can come outside and get it, or I'll come in after you. It makes no difference to me.
Cautiously, Audrey Robart moves up to the broken glass in the door, reaches inside, and unlocks it. Jason Dodd hovers uncertainly behind her.
Carter, are you coming out? All right, if you won't come out, I'm coming in. Stay beside me, Jason. There aren't many places they can hide.
Please hurry. It's been at least 10 minutes since I smashed that door. You're so darn careful.
Take it easy. Even without a gun, Carter's still pretty...
Okay, you two. Drop the guns or we'll drop you.
Call
the police. I said drop those guns. In 1 second we start shooting.
Okay, we give up.
You, Dodd, kick those guns my way. All right. That's better. Nick. Hey, Nick. Are you in there?
Right here, Matty. What kept you?
What kept me? Listen, it's not 10 minutes since the alarm came into headquarters.
What alarm are you talking about?
The alarm you sent in, Miss Robart.
What?
I made you smash the glass panel in the door to the cashier's office. When the glass broke, a burglar alarm went off automatically in police headquarters. You turned yourselves into the police.
All right, Nick. Give her the details. You say it was worked with second-hand coats, huh?
That's it, Matty. Miss Robart would go out and buy a cheap second-hand fur coat worth practically nothing. Then when she came to the store to see Dodd, which was practically every day, she'd leave the old coat and walk out with a new mink coat.
She was well known in the store, so no one ever thought of suspecting her. And when she came in with the cheap coat, she'd carry it over her arm so it wouldn't show how cheap it really was.
What a racket.
Yeah.
Then Dodd would put the old coat with the used coats the store had for sale and fix the records to account for it.
And another nice, new, valuable mink was missing without a trace.
And the shoplifters were just part of a setup to confuse us, huh, Nick?
Yeah, Matty. Dodd arranged that with Bruno. The shoplifter stole some small object and mailed it to Bruno's post office box right from inside the store in previously prepared envelopes.
Just so we'd think the professional shoplifters were stealing the furs.
And they killed Peggy Matthews because she got wise and wanted a cut. Dodd admitted that. He killed Bruno, too.
Yeah. When we connected Bruno and Peggy, I suppose Dodd was afraid of how much Bruno might know. So we had to put him out of the way, too.
So he sent Patsy and you to see Mr. Warren so you'd be out of the way while he killed him.
Yeah. Well, I think we better let him lock up the store now.
Oh, in just a minute, Nick.
Hey, Patsy, where are you going?
Into the fur department. After all, it's a woman's privilege to look at those beautiful mink coats, even if she can't have one.
Nick Carter, Master Detective, is produced and directed by Jock McGregor and is copyrighted by Street and Smith Publications, Incorporated. Lon Clark is starred as Nick, and Charlotte Manson is featured as Patsy. Ed Latimer plays Matty. Today's transcribed adventure was written by Norman Daniels, with original music played by Henry Silverne. This program is fictional, and any resemblance to actual persons, living or dead, is purely coincidental. This is Michael Fitzmaurice saying, when minutes count, use new, wonderful Old Dutch Cleanser.
This, I believe. H. Wilson Harris is editor of The Spectator, a leading British weekly. For 5 years, until the post was abolished in 1950, he was the representative of Cambridge University in Parliament. His weekly column, which he signs Janus, is particularly well known for its exposure of fraud in journalism and academic life. This is Wilson Harris's creed.
I believe, how easy to get so far, how hard to get much farther. Yet certain beliefs I do definitely hold. They are not, for the most part, the beliefs embodied in the Apostles' Creed. There, indeed, I find myself checked at the outset. In God the Father Almighty, maker of heaven and earth. Of heaven as Jeans and Eddington and still later astronomers have revealed it. I don't disbelieve, but how can I say I believe in something so infinitely beyond the human comprehension? Do I believe in God? Yes, or at any rate certainly not no. I believe in God because of Jesus Christ and because of myself. If Christ had never lived, I should have been convinced that some being, whom for want of any other name we may call God, must exist in the universe, and I should have felt after him, and perhaps in some degree found him. But Christ came to reveal God, and did reveal so much more than we should ever have discovered for ourselves. He linked God with humanity. While, therefore, I can hardly begin to comprehend God, I think I have enough conception of what he must be to make all the difference to life at home or in the office or anywhere else. Quakers, I was brought up a Quaker and still remain one, talk about what they call the inner light. I believe in that too. The best way to explain it is by a traditional Quaker affirmation. There is in every man a spark of the divine. You may identify that, if you like, with what in the New Testament is called the Spirit of Truth, or the Holy Spirit. I accept that, for I believe in a spiritual world with which the human spirit can come into contact. Because of all this, I believe that men and women matter to themselves, to one another, and to God. I believe in life as something to be thought about and made the best of, not just got through. I believe in democracy, not because I think it works particularly well, but because it works better than anything else. And finally, I believe in life's continuance, if belief is not too strong a word to use about the utterly unknown. I believe in it because this life, with all its evil and suffering and injustice, would be incomprehensible if that were all. Because Christ declared it, and I think he knew, and because I find complete extinction harder to conceive of than survival. If I'm right about that, I shall know before very long, but I shan't be able to send a message back. Such is one man's faith, not enough by a long way to satisfy him, but enough to live by, from day to day. Like J.H. Newman, I do not ask to see the distant scene, one step enough for me.
That was H. Wilson Harris, an English Quaker, who is particularly interested in international organization for peace.
Night beat.
Hi, this is Randy Stone. I cover the night beat for the Chicago Star. Stories start in many different ways. This one began with a bloody brawl in the darkness of an alley and ended in the glare of a fight arena with the winner and still champion, Old Kid Death.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone.
All that people need to make them happy, said Juvenal, are bread and circuses. And up to a point, I suppose the old Roman cynic was right. The promoter of the Metropolitan Arena probably never heard of Juvenal, but he would have agreed with him 100%. His fight club is a cut-rate monument to what the old Romans meant by circus, a place where gladiators meet regularly in combat. Its marquee flashed in the gathering twilight as I cruised past and crossed Madison and went up Clark. Taking my time, for the night was young, and the waking nightlife of the jukebox taverns might offer an incident for a story. But there was no inspiration there, so I kept going, cut through a cheap rooming house section, and headed for the office. I stopped for a red light, and that's when it happened. A burst of footsteps pounded up from behind, and a man, his shirt blood-spattered, his head bleeding, jerked open the door and filed in beside me.
Get going. They're after me. Hurry, please.
Who's after you?
They got guns. Step on it.
I ran the light, noting several figures in my rearview mirror as they stopped running and turned toward a car at the curb. I made several turns as my passenger kept looking back. And finally, satisfied that we'd lost him, he leaned back, took out a handkerchief, and wiped the blood from his face.
Lost him.
He was a stocky, heavy-shouldered guy, rather good-looking in a rugged sort of way. The ridges over his eyes were thick with old scar tissue, and there was a dent in his nose. The ear facing me seemed in good enough condition, but the mark of his profession was on him unmistakably.
Oh, thanks, pal. Thanks an awful lot. Dirty rat.
There was more than just one of them. I counted 3.
There were 5. I took care of the other 2. The rat I mean is the one who hired him to do the job.
Who?
Marty Bannon.
Bannon?
Yeah. Someone else must have tipped him off where I was staying.
This the same Marty Bannon who was up before the grand jury last month in that gambling investigation?
You must read the papers.
Oh, more than that. I covered the story.
A reporter?
I'm Randy Stone, the Chicago Star.
I'm Gunnar Evans.
Yeah, I know. I saw your name on the marquee at the Metropolitan. You're fighting Pete Madigan tonight.
That's right. You've seen me fight before, huh?
Oh, yeah, but not lately. Not since you started your comeback. Last time I saw you was over 5 years ago when you nearly lifted the crown from the middleweight champ.
See, which way you going?
Well, right now we're heading to the hospital.
What?
Oh, look, you've got to get to a doctor.
Not
Your head...
that. I'm okay.
Now, you look it.
It's just a scratch. Don't let a little blood scare you.
All right. Oh, there's a cop there by that street lamp.
No,
tell
keep
him
going. Please, I haven't got time.
What's that?
Look, Mr. Stone, I appreciate you helping me, but if I go to the cops now, they might hold me while they're investigating. I'll lose $2,000.
Your purse tonight?
More than just that. It's dough I put up to guarantee my appearance. Every dime I could scrape up. Look, I better get out.
I'll drive you to the arena.
So, thanks, but I'm going home first. Better pick up my manager.
I'll drive you there. I'm in no hurry.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Keep straight ahead. I'll tell you when to turn.
Good. What's Marty Bannon got against you?
I'll tell you someday, maybe.
Works for a gambling syndicate, doesn't he?
Works for it. He is a syndicate.
I wondered.
Turn here left.
You, owe him money?
The house right there in the corner.
Okay. The apartment house where Gunnar Evans lived was probably a very classy joint around 1910. I wondered what had happened to those fat purses he'd collected when he was one of the 5 ranking middleweights in the world. What had happened that he'd had to return to the ring to be a living punching bag for youngsters like Pete Madigan.
Well, thanks again.
What's the matter? What's wrong?
Nothing. Just a little dizzy, I guess.
Now, wait a minute. Come on, now, no fooling. You got to see a doctor.
I tell you, I'm okay. I'll be all right.
Well, you better let me go up with you.
Stone, I appreciate all you've done, but you don't have to worry.
Okay, but you can't fight tonight. Not with that gash in your head.
Heck, I can't. Dan will fix it up. You just keep your mouth shut.
Dan?
My manager, Dan Morgan. It's above the hairline. They'll never notice. You coming to the fight?
You bet, and I'm going upstairs with you now, too.
I'm telling
and
you.
I'm telling you. Now, let's go. So we went up to his apartment together. He leaned against the doorbell like he was tired. When the door opened, he nearly fell in.
Gunnar!
She was a little blonde with a baby face and eyes that were rhapsodies in blue. She shrunk back as he reached out to steady himself as though she didn't want him to touch her. And somehow the music in those big blue eyes vanished.
What happened?
Nothing much. Some hoods tried to jump me. I did all right. A friend of mine, Connie, Randy Stone, my wife. Come in.
Connie, is that him? Gunnar, I've been looking all over for you. What the Sam Hill happened? I told you to...
Holy smoke, what happened to you?
Don't get excited. I had a little trouble.
Yes, in the large economy size. 5 thugs jumped him.
What? Now, don't worry about it, will you? I'm all right. Just need to sit down. Randy Stone here helped me get out of it. Some abandoned hoods, I think, Dan.
You asked me, you better call a doctor.
Nobody's asking.
Well, he's hurt.
Will you shut up? I keep telling him I'm okay, and he keeps hollering for an ambulance. Lay off, will you, Stone?
What makes you think Marty did it?
Who else? He tried to proposition me into taking a dive, didn't he? He owns Madigan body and soul, don't he? He even told me he'd do something to me if I turn him down.
Gunner.
Well, why did you turn him down?
For $500 I should take a dive? For 500 lousy fish? Come.
Well, why not? How far can you go? You think you're still a big shot, a headliner? Well, you're nothing but a has-been.
Now, take it easy, Connie.
I told him to take it. I told him. How long can he last? I'm sick of being broke all the time. We needed that extra 500. Why didn't he take it?
Because I'm going to beat Madigan, that's why.
Oh, you fool. What good is it? You'll never hit the top again. If you can't think of yourself, what about me? What about the kid of yours?
Billy's your kid, too, now. Don't you forget.
My kid? Oh, no. Don't wish him on me just because I'm married to you.
Connie.
I'm sick of playing nursemaid, do you understand? And I'm sick of living like this.
Wouldn't be if you hadn't ruined me.
What?
You've stripped me of every cent I had, threw it away on parties, clothes, gambling. Made me sell a little business I had to pay your lousy debts.
Why, you cheap, punch-drunk bum.
Now stop that, Connie.
I don't have to take that talk from him or you or anyone else. I'm through, do you understand? Through, as of now.
She almost ran from the room, burst into an adjoining bedroom, and disappeared. Gunner Evans stared at the closed door for a moment and then sat down slowly by the table. His face was gray and tired as death itself. Old Dan Morgan shook his head sadly and gently pulled Gunner's head forward so he could have a better look at the cut on top.
Really asleep, Dan?
Yeah, I put him to bed before you came in. I hope she doesn't wake him. That don't look good, Gunner.
He still got that cough?
He's better. I lit the vapor lamp by his bed. He'll be all right in a day or two. You know how kids are, sick one day, up the next. Hand me that back there, will you, Stone?
Oh, sure. Here,
thanks.
Connie,
Yeah?
where you going with that suitcase?
Ah.
Connie! Well, that's the end, I guess.
Oh, she'll be back, Gunner. You know how she is.
Yeah, I know.
Now, be still. I want to fix
No,
it.
no. I want to take a look at Billy. Maybe he's uncovered.
A young kid?
5.
She's not his real mother, huh?
No. Billy's ma died when he was 2. Gunner married Connie 6 months ago. Thought the boy needed a mother. Some mother. She hates the little fella.
It's a shame.
Well, Aggie and me, we never had any children ourselves, but if we ever had, I'd want him to be like Gunner's boy. What a kid. Smart. I don't get it. How can any woman, even a gold-digging little witch like Connie, not want him? Still sleeping, huh?
Yeah. I'll have to see if I can get one of the neighbors to stay with him while we're gone.
Sit down. I'll get my bag.
What about it, Dan? Don't you think this is a job for a doctor? That
Will you keep out of it?
Gunner, I was going to tell you, maybe you shouldn't fight tonight.
Dan, for the love of Mike, don't you let me down, too. Every cent I got is tied up in that forfeit. $2,000.
Well, I don't like the looks of it, but... Okay. You don't think you've lost too much blood?
Nuts. Get to work. Time's running out. We got to be at the arena pretty soon.
Yeah, very well. Hold still now. This stuff is going to sting.
Go on. I only wish I knew who tipped Bannon off where I was staying.
They stole a piece of cotton. There.
There.
You didn't mention it to anyone, did you, Dan?
Of course not. Skin clips, a little jar of alcohol.
Oh, this?
Yeah.
You mean you moved out of here and you were living in a rented room?
He was only there the last 2 days. We were afraid something like this would happen if they knew where to find him.
Somebody must have tipped them off. They ain't bloodhounds.
Must have been the flu. Somebody must have seen you around there. Collodion, round bottle.
Yeah. Why would Marty Bannon go to all that trouble to keep you from fighting tonight? The odds are 5 to 1 on Madigan, aren't they?
Maybe they are, chum, but Bannon don't bet on anything that isn't a sure thing. Thought he could buy me for a lousy 500. Well, he was wrong.
Easy. I'm almost through. I figured it was safer to claim I run out and divide my $2,000 forfeit money with that dumb punk of his.
Well, for Pete's sake, what about the police? The boxing commission?
I opened my yap and they started an investigation. Cancel a fight. And who's hurt? Bannon? Nah. What can I prove? I need that dough, Randy. I need it bad.
I watched the savage gash in Gunner Evans' head close up and vanish under the magic touch of Dan Morgan's fingers. When he finally combed the hair over it and put away his tools, I was almost convinced that my concern had been overdone. Dan's fighter looked as good as new.
Now, you go in that bedroom and get a half hour's rest, Gunner. Try to sleep.
Right.
Gotta find a sitter. Forget it. I'll call my wife. Aggie will be glad to come over.
Oh, that'd be swell. I'd sure appreciate it, Dan.
She'd be tickled to do it. You know how crazy she is over Billy.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, why not leave him with her until you get straightened out?
I'll think about it.
Billy can always find a home with Aggie and me, Gunner. I only wish I had him for keeps.
Not a chance. You better get some sleep while you can. You need it.
Yeah. I'm going. Oh, thanks, Stone. Thanks a million.
I went down into the street, got into my car. I lit a cigarette thinking of what was to come and hating it. Gunner didn't have a chance. The odds were all against him to start with. But now Marty Bannon and his thugs had guaranteed it. The more I thought about it, the sicker and angrier I got. I knew Marty's address from the last time the police had visited him. Maybe he ought to know he wasn't having himself a private party with Gunner. Maybe he ought to know that if he got too rough, I might just invite the 800,000 Star subscribers. So I started up and headed northwest. Maybe I could put a scare into this mother. Bannon lived in a single penthouse apartment in the medium high rent district. I pressed the doorbell, and after a moment, a small peephole opened. An eye gave me a fishy stare, and the door swung wide.
Well?
How are you, Marty? Remember me? Stone, Chicago Star.
Oh, yeah, one of those poison pen artists. What do you want?
A little talk.
About what?
About Gunner Evans.
Come in. All right, spill it. What's in your mind?
What is it, doll baby?
Shut up.
Well, I like that. I only have to... You.
Gunner's wife stood in the foyer entrance. Like Bannon, she was in evening clothes, wearing a gown that showed everything but good taste. When I saw her, I knew who had tipped Bannon off where Gunner had been hiding, and who had sent those goons on a murder trail. It was Connie herself.
NBC is bringing you Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy as Randy Stone. Little-known episodes from the exciting annals of American history are presented in colorful, dramatic, factual manner on the Cavalcade of America, which returns over most of these NBC stations on Tuesday, August 29th. That's Cavalcade of America, returning Tuesday, August 29th. Now back to Night Beat and Randy Stone.
I wanted to see Marty Bannon about the fix he was trying to muscle through on tonight's fight between Pete Madigan and Gunner Evans. But when I saw Connie, Gunner's wife, in Marty's apartment, I knew my words would be as useless as rain on Lake Michigan. It was she who'd betrayed her own husband and told Bannon where his thugs could find him. Her big blue eyes widened when she saw me and then hardened into chips of ice.
You get around, don't you, Stone?
Yeah, but it'd be tough trying to keep up with you, baby.
Connie, I told you to stay back.
What are you worrying about, Bannon? Gunner Evans is bound to find out sooner or later. Probably sooner.
Who cares? I'm through with that dumb ape, and he might as well know it now as any time.
Look, dollface, I got enough to worry about without having a punchy mad dog on my trail. Too many big deals coming up.
What's the matter, Bannon? You don't think he's got enough against you already?
He can't prove a thing. You value your health, you'll forget you were here tonight.
I thought you were smarter than that. The guy who fools around another man's wife is like a rented tuxedo. He never knows who's going to spill something on him.
Be sure it ain't you. Now get out.
Well, maybe I had done some good I didn't know. At least he'd know now that somebody else knew what was going on. He'd drop the rough stuff, the fight would go on, and if he tried anything afterwards, it would be dangerous. I went back down to the lobby, walked out into the street. A taxi had pulled up to the curb, and the passenger was paying off the hacky. As I turned and stepped out onto the sidewalk, he turned around, and a cold chill hit me. It was Gunnar Evans.
Tom, what are you doing here?
Well, I bet myself that you'd win tonight, and I came here to make sure I'd have a chance to win the bet.
You won't, so forget it.
Why not? Why did you come here?
For Homestone. Inside.
No, wait a minute. What are you seeing Bannon for?
Out of my way.
You're supposed to be taking a nap and resting up. Why'd you come here?
Take the $500. What else?
Why? After what Bannon's done to you, after what you said, why? Why?
Just to think and lying there. What was I gaining being so big and noble? Nothing. Absolutely nothing.
Your self-respect?
You can starve on self-respect. Look out. You can see your kid go hungry, your marriage go in the rocks. I got nothing to gain and everything to lose. So I'll take the $500. What does it matter? I'm washed up. I might as well face it.
But you can quit clean. You don't have to wind up crooked. You can get a job, do something else.
What? The only thing I ever done except fight, drive a truck, and I can't do that now.
Why not?
Because I'm half blind, you fool.
You're what?
Oh, I can see you well enough for anybody else who's close up. You don't have to see like an eel when you throw leather. But I can't pass no truck driving test.
Well, I didn't know.
Bring the elevator.
I didn't know.
Nobody knows, not even Dan. You don't fight over 400 fights without losing something. With some guys, it's their brains. With others, their hearing or their teeth or their kidneys. With me, it's my eyes. Yeah, and my teeth, too. And the way things have been going, my brains, for all I know.
All right. Now, come on back home, kid. You don't need Bannon's dough. It smells.
No, but I need my wife. If I can find her and tell her I took Bannon's offer, well, she might come back. Get out of the elevator door. Move. I'm not breaking up my marriage for any $500. Bannon's on the 14th floor, ain't he?
Yeah, the 14th floor. Wait.
You coming along for the ride?
You're making a bad mistake, Gunner, going to Bannon's. It's the worst thing you could do. Now, come on.
Oh, preach, Stone. I'm sick of it. I made up my mind. Sure, I know it's the end of the trail. So what? I never hit the championship gravy, and even when you do, it ends up like this lots of times. No dough, no eyes, no brains.
You still got brains enough to lick this thing, Gunner, believe me.
Where's the button? Stone, it's different when you're young. The promises sound good. The world looks good. You read the stuff they print about you in the paper, you're great. Sure, it gripes me that everybody seems to be making off their fights except you. The gamblers, the crooked managers, the shady promoters. Of course, they ain't all that way. There are some pretty good guys, like Dan Morgan. He's the first honest manager I ever had. But there's so many of the others. So you bust your fingers. You can't sleep for nights on account your hands are like two big hearts, beating with pain pumping through them instead of blood. You get your teeth knocked out. You can't breathe on account of your nose is busted. The years go by and where are you? What do you got?
Now, one day you wake up and the fires inside you are out and you're like a furnace full of clinkers. You're an old man. That it?
Yeah, an old man. You know how old I am? 33.
Gunner, I wish you wouldn't.
Let go of me.
All right. If you must, you must. But before you ring that bell, there's something you should know about what you're going to find in there.
Yeah? What? What is it? What are you trying to say?
Okay, Marty. I'll meet you right after the fight. Then we can... Gunner!
Connie!
Marty, it's Gunner!
Open up, Connie. Open up the door.
Gunner, it's no good. It's not worth it.
I'll kill the rat.
Come on, get a grip on yourself. Gunner!
Get away from me. Connie, I'll bring it down for help me.
Gunner, for the love of Mike.
I told you to let me go.
Listen to me.
You asked for it.
Whatever time had done to Gunner Evans' legs, it certainly hadn't affected his punch. I went out like a shattered light bulb. When I came to, I was sprawled on my back in front of Bannon's penthouse apartment. The door was still locked, but I could see through it like it wasn't there. The simple reason that the main part wasn't. The entire middle panel was smashed through. Only the frame remained. I got up slowly. My jaw hurt and my brain was full of angry bees. I stepped through the broken door and looked around. I saw them, Connie and Marty, lying at opposite sides of the living room. Their heads were twisted at curious angles, their necks purplish and swollen. And they were both quite dead. I found a telephone, I called the police, and sat there a while trying to brush the fog away. My head throbbed as I tried to remember something I felt was important, but I couldn't quite recall. And then suddenly it came to me. The fight. The Metropolitan Arena. Evans versus Madigan. That's where he'd be. That's where I'd find the gunner. I stumbled to the elevator, went downstairs, found my car, and drove out to the arena. Hi, is Gunner Evans here?
Is he here? He's fighting tonight. Don't you see the sign?
Yeah.
You're just in time for the main goal, mister. Ringside. I got one on the aisle, row 5.
Here's my press card.
Say, what's going on anyway, you know?
Meaning what?
I mean, him coming in just a little while before the semifinal was over. His manager and the promoter was tearing their hair.
You say the main goal's about to start?
Well, for round 1 rang 30 seconds ago. You're covering the fight, better get on in.
I headed down the main aisle to the press section at ringside. What was going on in that ring brought me to a standstill more than once before I finally got to the ringside and began easing my way around the gunner's corner. I couldn't take my eyes off him. The gunner was tearing into Pete Madigan with a slashing fury that brought the crowd to its feet and kept it there. This fight wasn't going to last any 10 rounds. I could see the gunner's manager, Dan Moran, standing at the ring apron, pounding it with his fist.
Cross him, let him have it!
How are you, Dan?
Stone.
It's terrific.
I don't know.
March it! Get him now, get him! That's a boy.
What do you mean you don't know?
I've been trying to get him to box, but he won't. Look at him. He's fighting Madigan's fight. He can't last. His legs won't take enough for 10 rounds. Something's the matter with him.
Yeah, something's the matter, all right.
He finally showed up. He looked funny, acted funny. Something's happened. I don't know what. Hook him!
Hook him! He's wide open! Turn up, baby! Watch it! Watch it! Oh, that's the ticket. Jab him dizzy!
All right, boys. Get that stool in there fast.
Okay, Dan.
Take his mouthpiece out. Oh, my gosh, he shouldn't be breathing like that after only 1 round.
Dan, I want to tell you something. Gunner's in trouble. He's terrible trouble. Any minute the police...
Listen to him. Something's the matter with him. Look, Randy, do me a favor. Go back to Gunner's dressing room and have a look at Billy.
Who?
Billy. Gunner's little boy. I put him to bed there.
What is he doing here? I thought your wife...
Yeah. Gunner showed up there just before he came here and took Billy with him.
Why?
Maybe he's afraid Bannon's goods might break in the house, take it out on Billy. I don't know. Now, go on, will you?
Okay.
I gave one of the boys $1 to keep an eye on him. Make sure he gets...
All right, don't worry. I went back down the ramp into the dressing room. Billy was sleeping on the rubbing table between several training gloves, big as pillows to keep him from rolling off. Dan had covered him with an old bathrobe and pillowed his curly head with some folded towels.
Cute little fellow, ain't he?
No wonder he's been able to sleep through all this noise.
Yeah, but I guess he was just real wore out.
Yeah, I reckon he was.
Yeah. There's the buzzer for round 2.
Yeah, well, I'll go up and have a look.
Okay, mister.
I walked up the ramp, down the aisle toward the press section. Round 2 was a facsimile, it seemed, of round 1. How many rounds could a man go at this pace? He was pressing Madigan every second, a slashing, ripping attack, like a madman, I kept thinking. Like a bulb that flares more brightly than it ever has before the instant before it goes out. Gunner Evans was fighting the greatest fight of his career and the last fight of his career. And then he was down. Gunner Evans was down.
Bank! He wasn't even hurt. Take some time.
It certainly seemed that way. Gunner lay sprawled on the canvas like a puppet whose strings had been cut. He didn't stir as the referee's voice came through the pandemonium.
7, 8, 9, 10, out!
I walked down the aisle through a now hushed crowd. Nobody moved. When I finally got to the ringside, Dan and his 2 seconds were still working on Gunner. A scared, haunted look had begun to deepen the furrows of Dan's wrinkled face. Presently, the commissioned doctor climbed into the ring and knelt beside the fallen fighter. After a while, he looked up, pointing to the patched-up wound on Gunner's head. It had oozed some blood, but now it had stopped.
This man was hurt before the fight.
Yeah, he cut his head. I told him he shouldn't fight, but he insisted on going on.
In heaven's name, why?
He had a $2,000 forfeit posted.
$2,000.
How bad is it, Doc?
His skull was fractured before he entered the ring.
You mean that...
He's dead.
We went back to the dressing room, Dan and I. I tried to tell him what had happened at Bannon's apartment, but he didn't seem to hear. He shuffled along, his head bowed, his eyes red. We stared at the sleeping child, and I asked Dan, "Gonna have any relatives?"
I don't know. None that I know of. No. Gunnar didn't have any kin.
You mean Billy's alone?
Alone? Of course not. He's not alone. Billy's got me and Aggie, ain't he?
Well, then you better take him before the police get here. Here. Take him home with you.
Yeah, poor little fella. He must be tired. Didn't open an eye. Yeah, I'll take him home. Don't want to take any chances. There's a cop coming back.
You gonna keep him, Dan?
Huh?
You said you wanted him, didn't you?
You mean?
Gunnar would have wanted you to have him.
Billy.
He's yours, Dan. For keeps. Your son. Well, 4 a.m. and another edition about to go to press, another sunrise about to dawn. The death of one cycle, the birth of another. Or maybe it's all one, like time itself. Well, I'm not going metaphysical at this hour. But I can't help thinking that Gunnar Evans maybe wasn't such a failure after all. In a way, he's still punching, he's still alive, with a new set of dreams and a future ahead. Yep, in his son. I guess basically that's why our children mean so much to all of us. Like the philosopher said, they're our only chance for earthly immortality. I'll have to get married one of these days. Copy, boy.
Night Beat, starring Frank Lovejoy, is produced and directed by Warren Lewis and edited by Larry Marcus. Tonight's story was written by Irvin Ashkenazi with music by Frank Worth. The part of Gunnar Evans was played by Don Diamond. Listen next week at this time and every week as Randy Stone searches through the city for the strange stories waiting for him in the darkness. Night Beat came to you from Hollywood. Programs get your programs here. Wednesday evening brings you other great adventure mystery programs on this NBC station. Be sure to hear The Falcon, Mr. District Attorney, Richard Diamond starring Dick Powell, and Dangerous Assignment with Brian Donlevy. That's Wednesday night for more stellar action-filled programs. Be sure to listen.
This I believe. Dr. Hollowell Davis is Director of Research at the Central Institute for the Deaf and Professor at the Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, Missouri. As a leading expert in neurophysiology and hearing, he is prominent in a number of professional societies. His work is highly specialized and technical, but now Dr. Hollowell Davis states his creed in terms that the layman can easily understand.
I speak as a scientist. I believe in man. I believe in man as a part of nature. Nature includes the physical universe, the life of plants and animals and man, and also the mind and thoughts of man. I believe in nature's laws, impersonal and merciless, but reliable. I believe that man can learn enough of nature's laws to shape his destiny, but nevertheless his destiny must remain within the bounds of nature's laws. It is man's fate to struggle for existence with other living things and with himself. It is man's privilege to rule this planet for many millions of years if he is able. The survival of mankind is the yardstick by which I measure good and bad. The struggle for existence is not easy, nor can I be sure we will succeed. I believe that man is on his own. He can learn to control and use some of nature's forces, and perhaps even to control himself. But I also believe that man may fail, and may destroy civilization and possibly even life itself by his own acts. So I believe it is my duty and privilege to learn what more I can about the ways of nature and of man. It is not only enough to learn. New knowledge must be shared if it is to help mankind. Here, I believe, is our immortality, what we teach to those who follow us. There are also ways of life that I believe are good. They are not taught by word of mouth alone, but also by example. Everyone has his own list, I am sure, but here is mine. I believe in the integrity of speech. Let thy yea be yea, and thy nay be nay. I believe in tolerance, in freedom of thought and speech, and in the golden rule. These rules begin at home, but should also extend to national laws and policies. I believe in respect for law, but this assumes, of course, that man-made laws must contain within themselves the rules for lawful change. Readiness for change is fully as important as respect for law and tradition. Conditions change. Evolution is part of nature's law. I believe in patience. Evolution is slow. Individuals change only a little. Young liberals become moderate conservatives. Extremists do not change, but fortunately they fade away. I believe deeply in the brotherhood of man, of all mankind. I do not like the alternative theory of a master race or master class. When I speak of the survival of the human race, I mean the entire human race, not only the yellow, the brown, the black, or the white. But I also believe that the human race cannot continue to increase and multiply indefinitely. And I see great danger that the struggle for subsistence will set race against race and nation against nation in a series of wars to the death. Here, I believe, lies the greatest challenge of the future. Can mankind realize the ideals of tolerance and cooperation at the racial and national level? And can control of the world's population be achieved without recurring war, pestilence, and famine? Frankly, I believe that the chances are poor in our era. It may happen after the next great glacier has come and gone, or it may never happen. But this I believe, and believe with all my heart. It is possible that it can happen, and that our efforts today and the examples of our lives can make it more likely. On this possibility I stake my faith. I still believe in man.
That was Dr. Hollowell Davis of St. Louis, Missouri. He is Director of Research at the Central Institute for the Deaf.
Diamond, Private Detective, starring Dick Powell.
Oh, pardon me.
Huh?
You know where I might find Mr. Richard Diamond?
You want to hire him?
Yes.
Well, stop being so bashful, friend. Come in, come in.
Thank you. You're Mr. Diamond?
Well, any resemblance to the Irish washerwoman is purely intentional.
Do you always do your own laundry?
Always. Keeps my petty cash from looking too petty. Sit down, Mr.
Baxter. Clay Baxter from Okmulgee, Oklahoma.
Clay Baxter from Okmulgee, Oklahoma. Was a man, I guess, to be in his early 50s. Straight up, he crowded 6'3", counting the 2-inch heels on his handmade boots. Looking at him, I thought of an old Remington Trent, and suddenly felt like singing a chorus of Home on the Range.
I'd like you to come to Okmulgee with me, Mr. Diamond.
Well, why, Mr. Baxter?
My brother was killed yesterday. The sheriff and the coroner said it was an accident. I don't believe it.
How did you happen to look me up?
I raise cattle, Mr. Diamond. I do a great deal of business in Chicago and New York. I wanted a detective with experience, someone with a good reputation.
Bless you.
I called a friend on Wall Street, and he recommended several men. One of them was you. I checked your background. I'm satisfied.
Oh, good. I charge $100 a day in expenses.
Chick and feed. I'll pay it, and if you catch the man who done it, I'll give you a $1,000 bonus.
Oh, well, now, I can't leave right away. It'll take me at least 5 minutes to get my affairs in order.
Yeah, I can certainly see you appreciate a buck.
Mr. Baxter, I appreciate a buck like a Texan appreciates Texas.
Texas? Never heard of him.
How was your brother supposed to have been killed?
Thrown from his horse, skull fracture.
And you don't believe it?
I do not.
Why?
Too good a horseman.
Oh, it could have happened.
Well, if it did, he'd have taken the fall right. Might have busted something, but wouldn't have killed him.
Anything else?
His wife. My brother was a wealthy man, Mr. Diamond. His wife will inherit everything. Ranch, cattle, all worth about $8 or $10 million.
You think she had something to do with his death?
You tell me, Mr. Diamond.
I called Helen, told her I was off to Okmulgee, promised I'd send her a couple of Navajos or whatever they had out there. Then I took Clay Baxter over to my flat and threw a few things into a suitcase.
Oklahoma's dry.
So's Richard Diamond.
Might get arrested.
I don't want to leave it here.
Wouldn't make any difference if it was empty, would it?
No.
Got a couple of glasses.
A fifth usually adds up to a full evening, but that's only when Clay Baxter isn't around. When he poured one for the road, the water line receded 6 inches. I had a quick one, and he finished it.
How'd that soldier?
How do you feel?
Oh, lively.
Why don't we forget the plane? You just start running for the window, and I'll climb on. Okmulgee, Oklahoma. Population 17,091, according to the last census, and very hot in August. Baxter's station wagon's waiting at the airport, and the driver took us into town, where I was introduced to the local law.
This here's Sheriff Billings.
How are you, Sheriff?
Jim, this is Mr. Diamond. He's a private detective from New York.
Howdy, Diamond.
Howdy.
Private detective, huh?
Oh, I've been called other things.
Still ain't satisfied, huh, Clay?
Not yet. And you ain't either, and you know it, Jim.
How about it, Sheriff? You think Mr. Baxter's brother was killed deliberately?
Coroner says it was an accident. Hit his head on a rock.
That ain't what Mr. Diamond asked.
Well, Will Baxter was a pretty good rider, but he could have been thrown.
I know.
All the evidence says he was. Could see plain where his horse bolted.
What could have made his horse shy?
Snake, maybe.
Not that horse, and you know it, Jim.
Well, maybe stepped in a chuck hole. He was limping right bad when he got back to the barn.
No signs of anyone else near the body?
Well, when I got there, some of Will's boys had already ridden out.
Who found him?
A couple old miners, Luke and Phineas Merriweather.
Well, let's go out to the ranch, Mr. Baxter, and take another look at the spot where your brother died.
Will Baxter's ranch is 40 miles from here, Mr. Diamond.
Maybe you'd like to go out to my place and freshen up a bit first. You go ahead and shave and shower. I'm going to go build me a drink.
Hey, this is quite a place, Mr. Baxter.
Glad you like it. Take a swim in the pool if you'd want, but watch out for the catfish.
Catfish?
I'm a bachelor. Don't use the pool much, and I don't usually have guests. Love catfish for dinner, so I keep them in the pool.
I caught a guy once floating bodies in his bathtub.
You don't say. Funny, Harvey.
I showered and shaved and met Baxter out by the pool where he was feeding his catfish. I watched a pound of liver disappear like lychee nuts in the Tong War, and we all headed back to town where we picked up Sheriff Billings. 40 miles later, we pulled up in front of the late Will Baxter's ranch. A little different architecture, but just as impressive as my client's.
Okay. Afternoon, Sheriff.
Oh, Wilma.
Afternoon, Wilma.
Wilma, this here's Mr. Richard Diamond. Wilma Baxter, my brother's wife.
How do you do?
How do you do, Mr. Diamond?
Private detective. Come up from New York.
Oh? Well, why don't we all go in the house? It's too hot out here.
Mr. Diamond wants to go out and look at the spot where Will got himself killed.
Certainly. Have one of the boys fix you up with some horses. When you're done, why not stop back for dinner?
Mr. Diamond's eating with me, and he's going to be pretty busy for a while.
Now, I'll give you a rain check, Mr. Diamond.
Thank you.
I'd like you to tell me about New York. It's been a long time, and I've almost forgotten what it's like.
Let's go, Jim. It's getting late.
Bye, Mr. Diamond. Nice meeting you.
Goodbye, Mrs. Baxter.
Seems all broken up, don't you?
Yeah. Where was she when her husband got killed?
Perfect alibi. In town all day. A lot of people saw her. Mighty fine-looking woman.
Mighty. We all rode down to the stables, and one of the hands saddled up 3 horses, and we started out across the open desert. For a man who had spent all his life riding around in taxicabs, the experience was just short of agonizing.
Just up ahead, Diamond.
Swell.
Never rode much, did you?
No, I always bounce like this. Like to make my money belt jingle.
Well, here it is. Whoa.
Yeah, whoa.
Well, here's where they found the body.
Now, what did he hit his head on?
That rock right there.
Mm-hmm. Did you take an impression of the wound to see if it matched?
Nope.
Oh, why not?
Never thought about it.
Oh, that's a pretty good reason. Anyway, let's dig that rock out and take it back with us. I spent the next minutes limping around looking for something and came up with nothing except a longing for a hot Epsom salts bath. We dug up the large rock and took it back with us to Wilma Baxter's ranch.
Whoa!
Howdy, Sheriff.
Howdy, Frank. This here's Mr. Diamond, Frank. Diamond, this is Frank Kelly, the ranch foreman.
Howdy. Detective fella, huh? Miss Baxter told me about you. Said you was doing some investigating.
Yes, sirree. Scientific investigation. The way the city boys do it.
What you going to do with that rock?
Hopscotch. Oh, on second thought, I think we'll take turns untying the knots in my back.
Good warm shower, and you'll feel fit as a fiddle.
Well, I got a good start. I'm shaped like one.
You'll find it a little bit rough out here, Diamond.
Oh, I'll get used to it, Mr. Kelly.
I hope you're right. Ain't much like the big city.
Oh? Just what is the big city like, Mr. Kelly?
I ain't never been there. Just what I've noticed. Looks like a man can get pretty soft living in the city.
Well, I'd like to show you where I was brought up sometime, Mr. Kelly. We never got around to playing cowboy, though. We were too busy kicking each other's teeth out.
See you later, Mr. Baxter. So long, Sheriff.
I don't think Frank likes you, Diamond.
Well, what about Will Baxter's horse? I can take a look at him.
Right over there in that stall.
Really pulled up lame.
Oh, good horse. Never figured to shy at anything.
Man, look at that.
His hip's swollen.
Yeah, really twisted something. Steady, boy. Steady.
Hey, that looks like an infection.
Yeah, it's a funny thing. It kind of does.
What are you getting at, Mr. Diamond?
Oh, I'm not getting into thing, Mr. Baxter. I just said it looked like an infection.
Yeah, we better tell Mrs. Baxter or Frank. Have someone take care of it.
Tell me, boys, if you jabbed a horse with something, would that make him bolt? Come on, I want to get back to town and talk with the coroner.
Now, look here, Jim. Ain't my word good enough?
Why, sure it is, Coroner, but Clay hired Mr. Diamond to do some investigating, and he's doing it.
Clay, I tell you, your brother died from natural causes.
I don't think so.
But if you insist, I'll show this detective fella the body.
I want the head wound matched with this rock.
Okay, but the mortuary ain't gonna like it. They got him all ready to bury.
The coroner led me across the street and into a funeral parlor where I took a look at the late Will Baxter. 6 years with the 5th Precinct homicide and a couple of dozen killings should have conditioned me. But like always, the first look shakes something loose in the middle of my stomach, and I have to keep swallowing hard.
Looks right natural, don't he, Clay?
Yeah.
They do a good job here.
And bully for them.
And he hit his head right here. Concussion, plain and simple.
No other marks or bruises?
No.
While the coroner rolled the late Will Baxter into one of the back rooms and made a comparison with the head wound and the rock we'd brought in from the ranch, we went out on the front porch for some air. I lit a cigarette and thought about an old case I'd worked on 5 or 6 years before.
You got a cigarette?
Sure, Doc. Take a uni all right?
Funny thing.
Head wound doesn't match the rock.
Sure doesn't. Wound is too deep. Rock's round and flat. Nothing sticking up to go that deep.
Then I want an autopsy.
Why? Fracture still killed him?
No, I doubt it. When someone plans a murder, they don't count on one blow to do the trick.
Bet there's nothing else that could have done it.
Well, nothing you can see. I've met someone here in Okmulgee that I'm pretty sure is wanted for another killing very similar to this. Now, Doc, go make that autopsy and fast.
You think maybe you found something, Diamond? You think Will was killed deliberately?
Maybe, but we'll have to wait for the autopsy. In the meantime, I'd like to go out and visit those 2 old-timers.
Luke and Phineas?
That's right, Sheriff.
Well, it's mighty dangerous. Come on, I'll take you out.
You better wait here for the report. Mr. Baxter and I'll go on out.
All right, you can use my horses, so you won't have to go all the way back to the ranch.
Horses?
Well, the Merriweathers are on the other side of town, out about 10 miles, no roads.
Oh, horses, 10 miles. I may never play kick the can again.
Oh, you really don't don't take the horses, do you, Diamond?
Maybe if you could find me a nice long thin one. Holy Ike. Whoa, steady.
That's one of the Merriweathers.
Well, let's get out of here. Come on, horse. Now, come on, I'm yellow, and I admit it.
Now, it's okay, Diamond. That's just the boys' way of letting you know not to come any farther, unless they say so.
Oh, swell greetings. What happens now?
Hey, up there! Luke! In here!
What you want?
It's Clay Baxter. I got a friend here who wants to talk to you.
In here? Yeah, Luke? Hey, Baxter. Got some friend who wants to palaver. I don't feel like palavering. Better shoot him.
Giddy up. Just take it easy. Take it easy. They always act like this.
Penny don't want to palaver. I gotta shoot you if you don't promote.
It's important. About my brother.
Penny? Yeah, Luke? It's about his brother, the dead one we found t'other day. Oh, all right, I guess. Let one of them come up. Baxter?
Yeah, Luke?
Send your friend on up.
And up I went, leaving my better judgment running off across the desert. I climbed a small hill and found myself standing at the entrance of an old mine shaft. Luke and Phineas and Merriweather stood on either side, shotguns ready, pointed right at my chest.
Start talking.
Well, gentlemen, my name is Diamond.
Don't pay no import to names. What do you want?
Just wanted to ask some questions about the man you found the other day.
You a policeman?
Well, kind of.
Shoot him.
Oh, now, wait a minute. I'm not a real policeman.
Then what are you?
I'm a private detective.
Luke? Yeah.
What's the matter? It's an honest profession. Fellow's got to make a living.
You a real live private detective?
Well, I'm a private detective. The real live part I'm depending on.
Well, my goodness gracious. Come on in, have some victuals.
Huh?
Why, mister, me and Finney read all them stories about you fellas. Uh-huh. We filled up one whole tunnel with old detective magazines. You fellas really are something. Wait a minute.
What's wrong?
Let's see your badge.
Oh, yeah. Sure. There you are.
Oh, me? Yes, sir. Well, I'll be dogged. Come on in, friend. Come on in. I'd like to ask you some questions about this here Dick Tracy fella.
Well, 1 minute I'd faced 2 shotguns. The next I was turned into an honored guest. I had coffee and biscuits with Luke and Phineas and answered enough questions about the private detective business to fill a dime novel of my own. I squeezed in enough questions to find out that the boys hadn't seen or found anything unusual when they discovered Will Baxter's body. 4 cups of coffee and a dozen biscuits later, I bid the Merriweathers a fond farewell and returned to Clay Baxter.
They loved you?
Oh, worshipped me. They're starting a Richard Diamond fan club.
Well, did you find out anything?
No.
Well, give me your hand. I'll help you up on your horse.
Oh, couldn't I just walk back? Come on, horse. Hold still. Steady, boy. Clay Baxter, sitting in the saddle, had leaned down and grabbed my hand to help me up on my horse, and that was when he got it. His horse took out with the wounded man still up and hanging on. I booted my horse in the ribs. Oh! I took off after Baxter like citation on a good day. I closed my eyes, prayed a little, and tried to remember every jockey I'd ever seen before. Suddenly, I looked up and spotted Baxter's horse dead ahead, standing still and right in my path. Whoa! Oh!
Well, I guess it's just my time. If I don't die from this bullet I got in me, I'm going to do it from laughing.
How is he, Doc?
Oh, he'll be all right. Collarbone. Didn't break anything. How do you feel, Mr. Diamond?
Crippled.
Any idea who shot Clay?
No.
Clay said he thought it might have been the Merriweather boys.
No, it couldn't have been.
Why not?
No, the Merriweather boys use shotguns, not rifles. What about that autopsy, Doc? Well, come on. What about it?
You was right. Will Baxter didn't die from a skull fracture.
What was it?
And I know what was used for sure. A long, thin instrument. Whoever did it pulled the lower eyelid down, killed Will Baxter by jabbing something through the eye into his brain.
Probably hit him over the head to knock him off the horse, and then got down and made sure.
And then jabbed his horse in the flank to make him bolt.
Nasty way to kill him, eh?
That's been done before. It's not a man's way of killing.
Wilma Baxter was in town all day.
When Clay comes around, tell him I borrowed his station wagon.
Going out to see Wilma?
Going out to her ranch. I want to take another look at Will Baxter's lame horse. And, Doc, I want to borrow a pair of surgical probes. I climbed into the station wagon. Close to an hour later, I pulled up on the side of the road. The gate to the ranch house was another 100 yards up ahead. So I piled out, climbed the tall white fence, and slipped into the barn. Steady, fella. Steady. Steady. The horse's left flank was still swollen and very close to a serious infection. I ran my hand over the spot. Steady, boy. There was something still stuck in the flesh, so I used the surgical probes and prayed the horse wouldn't kick my brains out. Whoa, whoa. Steady, boy. Steady. There. Sorry, fellow.
I didn't know you were a vet, Mr. Diamond.
Huh? Oh, good evening, Mrs. Baxter.
You know, in this part of the country, you can get shot for horse stealing.
Oh, not stealing. Just taking this out of your horse's flank.
What is it?
That's a piece of a long needle. Might be a hat pin or something.
I think you'd better tell me what this is all about.
Oh, certainly. Your husband was murdered.
That's impossible.
Suit yourself, but he was. Somebody hit him over the head, knocked him from his horse, jabbed this needle into his eye, then jabbed it into the horse's flank so the horse would pull up lame, look like he'd shied. The killer tried to shoot me this evening, but he missed and got Clay Baxter instead.
Who do you think did this?
I don't know. The method doesn't fit a man.
A woman, then?
Well, the blow on the back of the head rules out a woman. Too much force.
What have you got left?
What I started with. A man. And a woman.
It's a very interesting theory.
Mm-hmm. You're from New York, aren't you?
I've been there.
I thought so. Your face is familiar.
I haven't been in New York in at least 10 years, Mr. Diamond.
Oh, funny. Well, I've got to go out to the Merriweathers.
Those two old miners who found my husband?
Mm-hmm. They saw the murderer.
What?
Yeah, that's why I know how it was done. I was out there earlier, and I've got to go back after a sworn statement.
Well, why didn't they speak up before this?
Afraid. Said it was none of their business. See you later, Mrs. Baxter.
Have another biscuit, Inspector.
No thanks, fellas. 10's plenty.
So Will Baxter was murdered, huh?
That's right, and Mrs. Baxter thinks you two saw who did the killing.
Gonna lay a trap, huh?
Yes, Luke, gonna lay a trap. Now, look, I remembered Mrs. Baxter from someplace the first time I saw her. Then when I found out how the murder was committed, I recalled a case very similar back in New York. Man was hit over the head, pushed down a flight of stairs, and his brain pierced by a hat pin. A man actually did it, but a woman planned it. The man was caught, but the woman disappeared.
Why'd they do it?
The victim was insured. They wanted to make it look like an accident. Well, come on, we better spread out. We should have company pretty soon. The two old-timers took off their coats and gave me some beat-up pants, which I stuffed with pillows and blankets. In 5 minutes flat, I had two dummies sitting with me at the little table.
You think they'll fall for it?
Well, you can't tell, but you two go on outside and wait until somebody comes in. I just want them to try for one of the dummies.
Well, what if he tries for you?
Killjoy. Luke and Phineas took their place outside the mine, and I smoked a dozen cigarettes, and then I heard someone coming in, moving quietly up the tunnel toward the light. I played it big. Well, that's fine, Phineas. Now, if you'll just sign this statement. I rolled, and the dummy that represented Phineas Merriweather doubled over from the force of the slug. He shot again, and Luke's dummy toppled. I kicked the lamp out before he got around to yours truly.
2 down and 1 to go, Diamond.
I'm afraid I got a big surprise for you, friend.
I ain't worried.
You should be. There wasn't even close. You're a lousy shot.
Yeah?
You missed earlier this evening and got Clay Baxter instead.
I'll make up for it.
No, you won't, Frank. Drop it.
You heard him, drop it. Okay, all right, don't you?
Wait a minute. Wait till I get the light. Yeah.
Well, hey, it's that Kelly fella.
Yeah, you're getting way out of line for a ranch foreman, Kelly.
Give it to him, Mr. Diamond.
Who had you kill Will Baxter? You know, Kelly, you said something today about getting soft in the city. Wonder just how soft I've gotten.
Maybe you'd like to find out.
Turn him loose, boys.
Yes, sir.
Go on now, go to it, Mr. Diamond.
I don't like getting shot at. It makes me real unhappy when anyone runs around killing people.
No, go on, stop him, go on.
Shut up, Skinny, and let him fight.
Now, Kelly, why'd you kill Will Baxter?
Wilma Baxter talked me into it, promised me a share of the ranch.
And for that, you killed a man, huh?
It's a big ranch.
Oh, get up.
Sure hate to see you leave, Mr. Diamond.
I hate to go myself, boys. Love them biscuits.
Maybe we'll get up and see you in New York sometime.
Hey, Kelly's coming, too. Doesn't like being tied to his horse like that, I guess.
Skinny.
Yeah, Duke?
Fella's coming, too. Hit him with something.
Sure.
Richard Diamond, private detective, has come to you through the worldwide facilities of the United States Armed Forces Radio and Television Service.
This, I believe. Harlan Cleveland, now executive editor of the Reporter magazine, has a long and distinguished record of public service. Associated with the Mutual Security Agency and its predecessor, ECA, since 1948, he was MSA Assistant Director for Europe until this year. Here is Harlan Cleveland's creed.
What I believe is not some series of fixed principles, but rather a constantly changing set of ideas. Ideas that I'm willing to do something about. If I were not prepared to do something about them, they would be merely theories, not beliefs. My mother repeated two precepts so often that we remembered them. Never stop learning, she would say, and don't ever get the feeling you've arrived. So what I believe is mostly aspirations for the future. It's hard to say whether the beliefs I now hold were cause or effect. Before the war, I chose to be associated with a program to help low-income farmers in this country. During and after the war, I got into relief and reconstruction work in Europe and the Far East. In any case, whether cause or effect, this is what I believe. That I should do what I can to maximize the morale of the greatest possible number of individual human beings. Surely the most basic aim of social action is the morale, or sense of well-being, of the individual person. As I see it, any individual's morale is measured by the degree of satisfaction of four basic wants. A man wants a sense of security, a sense of achievement, a sense of justice, and a sense of participation in the decisions that directly affect his own living and his own destiny. My own sense of achievement is greatest when I feel that I'm doing something practical about these basic wants. The underlying belief here is that progress is natural and good and practicable, a relatively recent arrival in the history of ideas. It is combined with the very old Christian idea that the individual, not the family or the group or the state, is the important unit. I've come to believe that even in our culture, steeped though we are in the philosophy of rationalism, there is both rational and instinctive evidence of God. My son, almost since he's been able to talk, has been asking me unanswerable questions about infinity. He comes by it naturally. I've always been engrossed by two facts about the universe that seem to me self-evident. One is the remarkable degree of order that we are able to ascertain. In natural law, in musical harmony, even in the relations of one person with another. The other fact is the interwoven continuity of everything and everybody with everything and everybody else. When I was very young, I learned something I hope is true, that if I wiggled my little finger, it would affect the farthest star. Occasionally, when walking by myself, I would wiggle my little finger just to keep that farthest star on the alert. What is true in space must also be true in time. What I do now will live on in its effect. What I am cannot be destroyed by death. The God of this orderly and continuous cosmos is also a personal God. The evidence here is that at the critical moments in his life, a man in trouble instinctively prays. I didn't learn this by going to church, even though I was a minister's son. When I was 21, I spent a night on a damaged liner that was listing badly after being hit by a tidal wave, trying to ride out a hurricane in the middle of the Atlantic. Seated on a bunk, trying to hold rigid between my knees the broken neck of an elderly woman whose survival depended on me, I prayed, for the first time, without feeling self-conscious about it.
They're the beliefs of Harlan Cleveland, executive editor of the Reporter magazine. He has been decorated for his international service by the American, Italian, and Chinese governments.
The Mutual Broadcasting System proudly presents Mr. District Attorney. Mr. District Attorney, champion of the people, defender of truth, guardian of our fundamental rights, life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Mr. District Attorney, transcribed, starring Jay Justin in the title role, Len Doyle as Harrington, and Vicky Vola as Miss Miller.
And it shall be my duty as District Attorney not only to prosecute to the limit of the law all persons accused of crimes perpetrated within this county, but to defend with equal vigor the rights and privileges of all its citizens.
In just a moment, Mr. District Attorney. But first, while a great deal has been done about improving our schools, our educational system, particularly at the elementary levels, still shows serious deficiencies in many areas. The reason for the inadequacy of many of our schools is the flood of increased enrollments. Between 1953 and 1960, we may expect 1.5 million more pupils each year. It's a statistical certainty that this rise in school population will heighten the already critical shortages in schoolrooms, staff personnel, and transportation unless action is taken now. By taking an interest in our schools, we can help make sure that our towns get the best possible schools for the money expended. Good schools are vital factors in maintaining both prosperity and a high social level for the area in which they are located, as well as contributing to the prosperity and security of the nation. So, if you're a parent or interested citizen, why don't you see what you can do? Join and work with your local school board or any civic group that is trying to meet this problem. Education molds our future. Better schools build a stronger America. This message is brought to you as a public service. And now the Mutual Broadcasting System invites you to listen to Mr. District Attorney. Two men are meeting in an expensive residential hotel on the outskirts of Paris, France. One is Melvin Renshaw, American sportsman, social leader, and lawyer. The other is his only client, Rocky Ritano, multimillionaire racketeer, deported by the United States Justice Department 2 years previously.
Okay, Renshaw, so it's not a permanent visa. It's a passport, ain't it? It'll get me back into the States, won't it?
Only for 6 months, Rocky.
That's long enough. All I want to do is get rid of Lenny and Floss on the narcotics end and take care of Lomazzo trying to horn in.
The immigration boys are smart, Rocky. All we can alter in this passport is the picture. You'll have to bleach your hair and grow a mustache to come anywhere near the description.
So in Paris they got the best beauty parlors in the world. And I got a month to grow the mustache.
Very well. You can sail on the Queen from Cherbourg on the 18th of next month.
I'm flying home tomorrow.
Right.
Oh, and by the way, I assume that you're expecting to stay with us while you're in town. My wife will be delighted to have you as our guest.
She, say so?
Well, frankly, no. But she doesn't have to. I'll tell her.
When do I get the passport?
I have it with me.
Say, you getting cute or something? Come on, let's have it.
It's made out in the name of Lebrec. Henri Lebrec. Perhaps you'd better learn to pronounce it.
Never mind the comedy cracks. Gimme.
Getting back into the States means a lot to you, doesn't it, Rocky?
Yeah. Let me have the passport.
Let me see. You'll net at least $1 million on the narcotics deal alone. Then you have at least that much still on deposit under assumed names.
Okay, Renshaw, quit stalling. What's the bite this time?
The bite? Oh, yes. Your lamentable lapses into the vernacular must be excused. However, Rocky, the bite, as you so quaintly put it, is $100,000. Just let me have it in cash. Checks are so easily traced.
Well, Wally, it's nice to see my favorite court reporter back. And nice of you to drop up here to the office and say hello. How was Europe?
Oh, Europe is terrific. Especially Paris.
Hey, you picked up a cold, huh?
No, a beaut.
You better take care of it.
I am. Do district attorneys ever eat cough drops? Here, have one.
No, thanks.
Made in France.
Yes?
Pour la malaise de la gorge. You know, it's amazing the way everybody in France speaks French, even the kids. Any sensational cases while I was away?
No, not a thing new. I believe you're familiar with the situation on the waterfront.
Well, that reminds me.
Yeah, what?
Funny thing, I ran across a guy on the Queen coming back that I can't get out of my mind.
Yeah?
His name was Lebrec.
Lebrec?
Henri Lebrec.
Oh, should I know him?
I don't know. I got a feeling I should. It's like trying to remember the name of a tune. Got the craziest notion I've seen him somewhere before, somewhere important. Like the Rogues Gallery.
Get your Mr. Pepperhead. Read all about it. Get your pepperhead.
Hiya, Johnny.
Well, Mr. Johnson, hiya. Hey, you've been in Europe.
Yeah, I got back today. Give me a news, will you?
Yeah, sure thing, Mr. Johnson. Here you are.
Thanks.
Boy, Mr. Johnson, you sure got a cold.
You said it. I'm trying to figure if I should take it home or take it to the fight tonight. Where's the sports page in this rag? Here it is. Wow. So Melvin Renshaw has been made chairman of the boxing commission. They sure must have been hard up. Hey.
What, Mr. Johnson?
Melvin Renshaw. Rocky Rotano's shyster lawyer. Johnny, I remember now.
Remember what?
I remember the face. Here, Johnny, keep the change. I'm going to make a fast call on the chairman of the boxing commission. Who knows? I might get into a fight myself.
Melvin, please.
Mona, I don't want to argue about it.
I will not have Rocky Rotano in my house.
Shut up. He'll hear you.
Well, I won't.
It may be your house, but Rocky bought it. He's paid for everything we've got. He's my only client, and he's staying with us for as long as he's in town. Now go get yourself another headache, or go to bed, or go somewhere.
Melvin, I know you don't love me, but that man in the same house as the child Catherine's age is... Well, surely as a mother I'm entitled to some consideration.
Listen, Mona, everything you're entitled to, you've got. You've got me and this house. You wanted security, you've got it. I wanted your respectability. Now, if you expect to continue to live this way, I suggest that you make our guest stay pleasant.
Go. Huh? That's the last of the cough drops. I feel like dying. Yes? Mr. Renshaw?
Yes.
Wally Jansen, Associated News.
Well?
Mind if I come in?
I'm afraid I'm busy.
Oh. I got a terrible cold. I think I must have caught it on A deck of the Queen Elizabeth.
Come in.
Thanks.
Come into my den. We can talk quietly in there.
Okay. That's a nice home you've got here.
Thanks. In here.
Thank you.
All right, Jensen. What's on your mind? I'm in a hurry.
Renshaw, I've got a crazy notion. A guy named Henri Lebrec had the cabin across from me on the Lizzie.
Get to the point.
Well, I've got a crazy notion his name wasn't really Lebrec.
That's all?
I think it was Rattano. Rocky Rattano.
How interesting.
Mm-hmm. Your picture in the paper reminded me that you're his lawyer. It also reminded me who Henri Lebrec looked like. Where is he, Renshaw? Hiding him in a closet someplace?
Mr. Rattano is in Paris. He was deported. You know that as well as I do.
Oh, but he's back, isn't he? Back to reorganize the rackets, back to straighten out a few things, jack the rough boys up a bit, tighten up the waterfront. Am I right?
Jansen, you're a good reporter. It's unfortunate that you can't have a longer career.
Oh, now, Renshaw, no guns. I'll get Hopalong Cassidy after you.
Do that. In the meantime, I'll get somebody after you. Somebody who really knows how. Rocky, come in here, will you? I always say it's silly to beat around the bush. Don't you, Jensen?
Oh, so he is here.
Yes. But the information won't be of much use to you.
It will be to the DA's office. He's a friend of mine.
Oh?
A very close friend.
I'm glad you told me.
I heard somebody at the door, so I was staying in my room until... Oh. Trouble?
His name is Jansen, Rocky. Wally Jansen. Associated News.
Cabin 29A. He was on the Queen.
Small world, isn't it, Robbie?
Yeah. Too small. For you, not for me.
Rocky, you did pretty well. Bleached hair, mustache. Too bad the guy across the hall had to be a close friend.
Renshaw, is it dark yet?
In an hour.
Give me your gun.
Yeah.
Get the car out quick.
Right.
Jansen, I've been working for months to re-enter the USA. I'm real fond of this country.
Oh, it's too bad it's mutual.
So I can't let anything spoil it. I want you to know I got nothing against you personally.
I'm relieved to hear that.
Smart, aren't you? Jansen, it's too bad. I'm sorry, but I got news for you. You're gonna die. Turn at Brand Street, Renshaw. Turn out into Pier 13.
I'm glad you aren't superstitious, Rocky, but let's get this over with.
What are you going to do?
You'll see.
Listen, Rocky, this has gone far enough. You can't get away with this. The DA knows about Lebrec.
Yeah? Well, he won't be around to print the story, and by that time I'll be out of the country.
Just don't plan on leaving without me. I don't want to be left holding the bag.
You're on your own from now on, Renshaw. If it hadn't been for you, I wouldn't be in this jam. Okay, newsboy, get out.
All right, Rocky, I'm telling you. The DA's office is just waiting for something like this. He's my friend. He'll never stop till he gets you.
All right. Start walking. Turn around, face the water.
Now, Rocky, don't do it.
Too bad. Kind of a nice guy, too.
We'll return to Mr. District Attorney in just a moment. Some like it hot, with the fierce clash of man's war against crime. And some like it cold, with the dedicated purpose of a vigilant fight against evil. And some like it with a touch of the unknown, flavored with a hint of the weird and the unusual. But practically everybody likes a good mystery. For all lovers of the eerie and the mysterious, Mutual brings program to suit any preference. There's Counter Spy, the spine-tingling exploits of David Harding, and his everlasting battle to preserve our country's security. High Adventure stars the hero, George Sanders, and dramatizes thrilling moments from the lives and places of peril throughout the world. While Bulldog Drummond presents the suave and sophisticated private detective, played by Sir Cedric Hardwicke. And with his own unique brand of hair-raising narration, Peter Lorre brings you Nightmare, featuring tales of the unexplainable. With great stars and great shows, you can't go wrong when you dial Mutual for mystery. Walk hand in hand with suspense, danger, and intrigue. Hear Counter Spy, High Adventure, Bulldog Drummond, and Nightmare every week over most of these stations. Now back to Mr. District Attorney and the case of setup for re-entry.
I can't believe it. I just can't believe that anybody had killed Wally Jansen.
Well, somebody has, Miss Miller.
Yeah, when's the autopsy due, Chief?
2 hours, and there'll be an official report. Hey, Harrington, we've got to crack this.
But who would do it, Chief? Wally Jansen didn't have an enemy in the world.
All court reporters have enemies, Miss Miller.
Where did they find him?
On some rocks under the pilings of Pier 13, near the old brewer's warehouse.
Yeah. Who was on the waterfront, Chief?
O'Brien found him. He heard shots and went down to the pier to investigate. He heard Jansen moaning. By the time O'Brien fished him out of the water, he was dead.
Well, didn't he say anything?
He mumbled something about the rocks. I tell you, I'll get whoever did this. It was the last thing I do. This sort of thing makes me as mad as a rookie on his first beat with a gang war going on in the back alley. Jansen was a good reporter and a good friend. He never did a mean thing in his life.
Oh, I'll get that, Chief. Yes, Ruth. Who? You mean Johnny, the newsboy at the corner? Well, tell him we're busy and to make it some other time, huh? Information about Jansen.
What's that?
All right, send Johnny in. Our amateur detective at the corner newsstand has a clue.
Well, Johnny's done a lot of Wally Jansen.
Yes, we all did. Yes, come in, Johnny.
Hello, Mr. Harrington. Miss Miller.
Hi, Johnny.
Hope I'm not disturbing you.
Well, Johnny, we are pretty busy. What's on your mind?
Well, sir, I've got some information I think the district attorney's office ought to have.
Yes, all right. Shoot.
Well, yesterday, Mr. Jansen brought a paper for me, see? He flips real quick to the sports page, and there's a picture, see?
Picture of whom?
The guy that was made head of the boxing commission, Renshaw.
Renshaw? Melvin Renshaw?
That's right, Chief.
Well, what's the connection?
Yeah, go on, Johnny, go on.
Well, then Wally said something about Rocky Ritano, shyster lawyer.
Rocky Ritano. Yes, anything else?
Oh, yes, sir. I think Wally went to see him.
Renshaw?
Yes, sir.
To his house?
Well, he didn't say.
Rocky Ritano. The biggest gangster the crime commission flushed out of hiding.
Yeah, but, Chief, he was deported.
2 years ago.
Well, it's fantastic, and yet... No, he'd never get by immigration.
Not in 1,000 years.
No, Harrington, we have only one little clue, but I intend to make a case out of it. We're going up to pay an informal call on Melvin Renshaw.
Right, would you, Chief?
Somehow, Rocky Ritano is back in the USA.
Okay, Spike, that's the way I want it. Yeah, I'm at Renshaw's now. Yeah, he's right here. The meeting's tonight, 10 o'clock in the brewer's warehouse I own, near Pier 13. Have some liquor and food sent over first. I want everybody comfortable. Yeah, real comfortable. Okay.
You think Floss and Lamazzo will turn up, Rocky?
Well, if they know what's good for them.
I can hear them trembling from here.
Yeah, trying to remember the double crosses. Figuring because I was in Paris, I would know. Brother.
You better take it easy.
Why? You still worrying about that reporter?
I think the warehouse is a bad place for a meeting.
His body will be 20 miles out into the ocean by now. The channel current is fast.
Just the same, you better take it easy.
I'll take it easy, all right. With 6 Thompson submachine guns. That's how I'll take it easy.
That's Renshaw's house there, Harrington.
Yeah, the big white one, Chief?
Mm-hmm. Built and paid for on legal fees from Rocky Ritano. No decent lawyer would handle his affairs. Say, wait a minute.
What? What's
Here on the sidewalk. This.
Oh, what's that?
An empty cough drop package. Pour Lamelais de la Gorge.
Yeah, what's that?
Say, this was Wally Jansen's. Come on.
You don't really think Rotano will be in the house, do you, Chief?
Well, if he is, he'll be sorry. Someday we'll nail the goons behind him, too. The ones that weren't deported.
Yes?
Oh, you must be Mrs. Renshaw,
Yes, I am.
Now, is your husband at home?
I'm sorry he's out.
Then I'd like to talk to you.
I'm sorry I haven't time. You'll have to excuse me.
I'm afraid I can't excuse you, Mrs. Renshaw. Here's my identification. I'm the district attorney.
Please stop asking me questions. I'm not well, and I'm very nervous, and I can't tell you anything.
Rocky Rotano is back, isn't he?
I don't know. Now, please, leave me alone.
He's been here.
No.
But you've seen him, haven't you? Tell me.
Yes. Now, stop it and leave me alone. Dear God, I wish I was dead. I have no friends, and nobody cares whether I live or die.
Your little girl loves you. She cares. And we're your friends.
That's right, Mrs. Renshaw.
Where is he, Mrs. Renshaw?
I can't. They'd kill me.
Now, Mrs. Renshaw, if you tell us, I promise you that I'll take care of you. I'll put you and your little girl on the 20th floor of the Broadmoor Hospital and keep 2 policemen outside your door day and night. Only you've got to help us.
Do you mean that? You promise?
On my word as district attorney.
Well, they're having some sort of meeting.
Yes.
Tonight at 10. There's several of them. I don't know how many.
Where?
I listened on my extension upstairs. The brewer's warehouse on Pier 13 on the South River. You clear on everything, Harrington?
Right, Chief.
I want every one of them. Preferably alive. But if necessary, dead. Now, here's a map of Pier 13 and the streets around it. And the sound truck will be here.
Right.
The red circles indicate searchlight squads, Chief.
Right. I'll be here with a walkie-talkie. I have 2 police boats in the river channel just in case they try to get away by water.
Right.
Okay, let's get going. See you later, Miss Spiller.
See me later?
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Well, what I say. Good night.
Chief, the only way you can keep me off Pier 13 tonight is to fire me. Oh, I hate the waterfront.
Well, it'll be a lot cleaner when tonight's over. That's Harrington. Yes, Harrington.
Road barricade on Branch Street. Okay, Chief.
Check. Police boats?
Police boats 14 DR 6 and 7, stationed mid-channel, opposite Pier 13.
Tear gas?
Guns issued.
Others in position?
Baird and Evans at the rear of the warehouse. Good shelter behind northeast corner of the building. Everything set. Everybody in position.
Okay. Not a move until I give the signal.
Now, we settle down and wait.
Yes, but not for long. It's after 10.
Oh, this is going to be a beaut.
Now, stay in the shadow of the fence, Miss Spiller.
Sorry, Chief.
I wish there wasn't so much moon. Yes, Harrington?
Black sedan just past the road barricade on Branch Street, Chief.
Okay, Harrington. We'll wait until the next car passes.
Are they coming?
Yes, listen.
Our first guess?
Mm-hmm. Keep your fingers crossed.
Right.
And stay in the shadows. These men are killers.
Can you see?
5 of them going into the warehouse. Yes, Harrington?
Second car passing Branch Street barricade, Chief.
Mm-hmm.
Green Cadillac. 5 men.
10 of them. Rocky Rotano's whole mob. Ready with the searchlights, Harrington.
15,000 waters.
Harrington.
Chief.
When I switch off, connect my mic into the loudspeakers on the sound truck.
Check.
And just remember the Thompson submachine guns fire 600 bullets a minute. Be careful.
Right.
Okay, I'm switching off. Give them the lights in 5 seconds.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Why, Chief, it's like daylight.
All right, Rotano. You're surrounded. Come out with your hands up, all of you. The warehouse ground and the piers covered by police boats. Come out with your hands up.
Chief, are you coming?
Wait. Watch it, fella, watch it.
Harlan, get up, Stopper! Harlan, get up!
We'll return to Mr. District Attorney in just a minute. If you're a teenager or older, you can play a vital part in the defense of our country. How? By joining the Ground Observer Corps. The Ground Observers have been set up to supplement the radar defenses of our country. Due to the way radar operates, there are gaps in it that can only be eliminated by human watchers. Now, if we are not to be caught unprepared, we must act now. The Ground Observers are located on the east and west coasts and in the northern Middle West. Now, when the Ground Observer system is extended to the rest of the country, 300,000 more volunteers will be needed. Their training and time on duty are supervised by officers and airmen of the Air Defense Command. All Americans from teenage up are eligible to become sky watchers. No matter where you live, a bombing attack would affect you. If Los Angeles, Chicago, or New York were attacked, it would affect every farmer in North Dakota and miner in Montana. So why don't you join the Ground Observer Corps? Write or telephone your nearest Civil Defense Center or write to the Ground Observer Corps, Air Force, Washington, D.C. This message is brought to you as a public service. Back now to Mr. District Attorney and the payoff in today's case history of waterfront crime. Set up for re-entry.
Poor cops killed. So help me, every one of those guys will get the chair. Miller, stay back.
It's Harrington. He's coming over. Right under the guns, he's coming over.
Fool, what's the matter with him? Is he gone crazy?
They hit the sound truck and broke the equipment. I wasn't receiving you.
And I'll try the police boat. Police boat 14 DR6. Can you hear me?
He's not receiving you.
Oh, they couldn't have gotten the boats, could they, Harrington?
No, they were firing away from the water.
Police boat DR6, not receiving you. Give them the tear gas guns. Sound 2 blasts on your whistle if you receive and understand this order. Over.
Oh, what's the matter with that police boat? Can't they do something with their equipment? Chief, there's their whistle. They heard you.
Yes. Well, there are the tear gas guns.
That'll bring them out driving crazy. Burn their eyes black.
Chief, look.
What? What is it?
Over there, a man coming out of the warehouse.
Yeah. Hey, that's Rocky. Rocky Rotano.
He's coming this way.
Keep quiet.
Chief, don't be crazy. That man's a killer.
I've been waiting for this. Watch me, Harrington. Maybe you can get his gun.
Try and get me, Kabalah.
He's trying to get away.
Oh, Chief, you can't fight him with your bare feet.
That's the way I want it. Okay, Rocky. And there's another one for Wally Jensen. His gun, Harrington. He dropped it.
Yeah, I got him.
What's the matter, Rocky? Don't like fighting with your fists, eh?
Listen, I'll pay you off.
Pay me for Wally Jensen's life? There isn't that much dough in the world.
Chief, are you all right?
Yes, I never felt better in my life.
Boys are coming out of the warehouse. It's over.
All right, get Rocky out of the water, Harrington. That's a fish I'm going to fry personally.
In a moment, a final report from Mr. District Attorney. There's something in the air, something new in Mutual's air. Star names in the stellar productions are adding their shine to the glittering roster of outstanding entertainment on your Mutual station. Such famous luminaries as Madeline Carroll, Arlene Francis, and Betty Clooney bring you programs that run the gamut from serious drama to gay humor to popular music. And that's not all, not by far. There are Sir Cedric Hardwicke, Peter Lorre, David Ross, Duncan Hines, Edward Arnold, Jay Justin, and George Sanders as well. So many stars, it's almost breathtaking. And you'll find the kind of programming they bring you is breathtakingly different, too. Their shows on Mutual are new in many ways. You'll find they add a brand new slant to your concepts of entertainment. But that's not all, either. Your own favorite time-tested stories and characters are not neglected. Some of the most famous fiction creations that ever saw the light of day bring you their ever-popular kinds of listening pleasure. Remember, it's your Mutual station that has something different. Stay tuned throughout the day, throughout the week, and hear for yourself over most of these same stations.
Ladies and gentlemen, every member of the Rotano gang was captured. As a result, one of the most vicious narcotic rings in the country was broken. Rocky was convicted and sent to the electric chair for Wally Jansen's murder, leaving Mrs. Renshaw free at last to bring up her little daughter in dignity and security.
The names of all characters in this transcribed dramatization are fictitious, and any resemblance to names of living persons or actual places is purely coincidental. Our stars were Jay Jostin in the title role, Len Doyle as Harrington, and Vicky Vola as Miss Miller. Mr. District Attorney was produced by Bernard L. Schubert, written by Harry Junkin, and directed by Leslie Harris. Mr. District Attorney was originated by Phillips H. Lord. Ed Ladd speaking.
This is the Mutual Broadcasting System.